Guys, I'm being told I have to do large portions of the show this way at times. I'm not given a good explanation for why, but this is how you will be seeing your humble host from time. Okay. Well, this part's fine, I guess. Guys, welcome in. I hope you, I hope you survived last night. I didn't sleep much, trying to get the show back up on the air. I was not given much of an explanation of what happened. But based on some of the edits, I got an idea of what happened. I think the excuse is you get a little too close to the target and there's some, perhaps a little throttling that takes place, perhaps a little whatever. But for those that didn't know, immediately after the show last night, it went off without a hitch. It was phenomenal, per usual. Just kidding. And then shortly after the program, I was doing the editing where I take that 2 minutes out. That's the first thing I do. I pull those 2 minutes off the beginning. And then immediately after that, I go in, I add the chapters, and I usually add anywhere from 6 to 10 chapters, kind of depending on how the show developed. And it involves going back and rewatching the show. Well, while I'm doing that, the show goes away. I thought, that's weird. I haven't had that happen before. I thought, it must have accidentally gotten marked private or whatever. Let me go over and look at it in the studio, which is kind of the back end of our humble YouTube overlords platform. And it wasn't there. So I had to reach out to them and say, what's going on? And work with them over the course of the night, many, many hours to try to get that thing back up. And eventually they relented and it's back. But it has some edits. It has some edits. Luckily tonight, I don't think there'll be any content that will make them pull out the sheet. But if they do, I'll try to be a good guy. I'll try to be good. I do anticipate there'll be some heavy braking for the next little while. So we're going to have to overcome that and really hit the like button on your way in, subscribe, all that good stuff, because we got to defeat the algorithm. We've got to get the show put out. So if you know anybody not watching, say, you just tune in. It'll help. It'll help get it moving along. But anyway, I digress. So couple of things I need to cover real quickly. Couple things I need to cover real quickly. Let's see if I can find it here. It's on my phone. Erika Kirk will be speaking at 2 TPUSA events coming up, one in Washington, D.C. and one at the University of Georgia. What's notable about that is her co-speaker at Georgia is the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. So she'll obviously be in the same place with him. The other one in Washington, D.C., though, happens to be where J.D. Vance lives. That's a little weird to me. She's not at any of the other ones, nor is he at any of the other ones coming up, but make of that what you will. Okay. A couple more things to get to. One is show program notes coming up. Tomorrow, we will be doing a member show. We'll do a member show tomorrow. It'll probably be around 1-ish, give or take. I like to be plenty done before Candace isn't going live tomorrow. So maybe we'll go a little later. But there'll be some kind of a members event tomorrow. We'll do that. I've had several requests of things that people want to talk about. So maybe we'll jump in and see if anybody else has anything on their mind. If not, those are things that I could talk about forever. So we could do that. Per usual, we'll not be here Saturday. We'll be back Sunday night, though. We'll be back Sunday night. Our open tonight, I think, it's a good one in light of the topic matter that we covered yesterday, and the subject matter we'll cover tonight. And in addition to that, the threats that were given out to the public yesterday, there were the last day or two, there were some threats given out to the public. And I think these threats are addressed relatively nicely in the open. I actually do try to, sometimes they don't have a lot of application necessarily to the subject at hand. Usually they do, but not always. Tonight, I think it does, particularly in light of that. So I hope you will enjoy it. Sit back, grab an ice cold tea or glass of water, whatever wets your whistle this time of night, or during the day if you guys are overseas. And I will do everything I can to keep this show live, keep this show from getting taken down. I can't argue with them and tell them to unthrottle it. I'm just assuming that's happening and going to happen here for the next little while. But that's what happens when the other side thinks you get a little too close to the target and starts whining and crying like babies. But we're not going to stop what we're doing. So Enjoy it, and we'll get to it. So here is your opening statement. Garland, Texas. Garland, Texas. It's a quiet suburb located just a few miles northeast of Dallas, Texas. On May 3rd, 2015, Garland, Texas became the site of the first terrorist attack on U.S. soil claimed by the Islamic State, also known as ISIS. Two gunmen, Elton Simpson and Nadir Sufi, opened fire outside the Curtis Colwell Center during the first annual Muhammad Art Exhibit and Contest. The contest was an event featuring cartoons depicting the Prophet Muhammad, organized by the American Freedom Defense Initiative, led by controversial figures like Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer. The contest was admittedly and deliberately very provocative. It aimed to challenge what organizers saw as self-censorship in the face of threats against free speech. The event drew only about 200 attendees, including armed security amid heightened tensions following the Charlie Hebdo massacre in Paris earlier that same year. The attack unfolded rapidly in the parking lot as the event was winding down. Simpson and Sufi arrived in a dark sedan wearing body armor and carrying semi-automatic rifles. They fired at an unarmed security guard and hit him in the ankle. They then moved towards the building. However, a quick-thinking Garland police officer stationed for traffic control engaged them with his service pistol and neutralized both of them within seconds. No attendees inside were harmed, but the incident highlighted the volatile intersection of free speech and religious sensitivities. ISIS claimed responsibility the next day via its Al Bayan radio bulletin, dubbing the attackers, quote, soldiers of the caliphate, end quote. This marked a shift in terrorist attacks, emphasizing lone wolf or small cell operations radicalized online rather than directed from abroad. Most assumed that was the end of the story. They assumed we had heard all of it. Two men angry at geopolitical events took out their rage on people at a gathering. And unfortunate, but it certainly wouldn't be the first time. But it turns out the story was anything but over. In fact, the shooting's aftermath revealed deeper layers of complexity, particularly regarding the apparent and almost impossible to believe role of the FBI. What initially appeared as a thwarted terror plot soon sparked allegations of FBI negligence, including things like entrapment and conflicting statements from the agency's leadership. Investigations uncovered that the FBI had monitored one shooter for nearly a decade and had communicated with him via an undercover agent who sent an inflammatory message and had an agent physically present at the scene to watch it all unfold. These revelations fueled debates about the FBI's counterterrorism strategies, echoing criticisms from cases like the Boston Marathon bombing, where prior surveillance curiously also failed to prevent violence. We've talked about that one. Senate inquiries, media investigations, and even a lawsuit from the injured guard have kept the case alive. All seem to want to know one thing: whether the FBI's actions facilitated the attack. Even today, more than a decade later, aspects of the case remain under appeal, with the Department of Justice defending the FBI's conduct. So let's go back to the scene. The Curtis Colwell Center is a multi-purpose arena, normally hosts events like graduations and concerts. On the day of the tragedy in Garland, over 40 officers from local police, the FBI, ATF, and the Texas Department of Public Safety were all working security due to the controversial nature of the event. Organizers had paid $10,000 for extra security. They anticipated backlash from the contest's prize for the best Muhammad cartoon. Geller, who is well known for her anti-Islamic activity, framed it as a stand for First Amendment rights. At around 6:50 p.m., Simpson's and Sufi's car pulled up to a barricade. They jumped out and immediately unleashed a barrage of gunfire. The responding officer was armed only with a .45 caliber handgun, and he returned fire from about 15 yards away, taking down both men before they could get to the entrance. Authorities later discovered, when they did their full investigation, that the attackers had on them over 1,400 rounds of ammunition. After the attack, authorities evacuated the building. They searched the suspect's vehicle for explosives. They didn't find any. They did link them into ISIS through social media posts. Simpson had tweeted allegiance to ISIS leaders minutes before the attack and even used the hashtag Texas attack. The event's swift resolution was hailed as a law enforcement success. However, as it became known to the public how closely the FBI had been monitoring these two, people naturally started to ask how the attackers managed to reach the venue armed to the teeth without the FBI noticing. Elton Simpson was 30 years old. He was from Phoenix. He had a long history of radicalization. He had come under FBI scrutiny about a decade before for associations with some Somalians. In 2010, he was arrested after lying to agents about plans to join a group in Somalia. Recordings captured him discussing a holy war. He was convicted of making false statements, and he was sentenced to 3 years probation. By 2015, he had shifted his alliance from Somali groups to ISIS. He was observed by authorities posting online about jihad and criticizing Muslims who didn't support violence. He worked at a dental lab and lived with Nadir Sufi, the 34-year-old pizza restaurant manager and divorced father referenced above. Sufi had been born in Dallas to a Pakistani father and an American mother, but had shown fewer overt signs of extremism over the course of his life, despite even having traveled to Pakistan and expressing some anti-Western views. The pair bonded over radical ideology. They watched jihadist videos. They acquired weapons with help of a third person, and that guy was later convicted of providing guns. Their radicalization exemplified the new online recruitment strategy of terror groups. They use social media to inspire the attacks without direct command. The crucial problem there is you don't know who's really on the other side of the website or the message. You're not face-to-face with someone. Can't look them in the eye. Simpson's communications with overseas extremists included a British ISIS recruiter, further tying them to the group. The FBI's involvement had begun years earlier, but it intensified, admittedly, in the weeks before the attack. Simpson was on a watch list. In March 2015, the agency opened a new file on him after he posted content supportive of ISIS. And this is where it starts to get really weird. Really weird. An undercover agent posing as a Muslim extremist began engaging him online under the guise of gathering intelligence. April 23rd, Simpson shared a link about the Garland event with the agent. The FBI agent replied via text, inexplicably, I might add, "Tear up Texas." The message, revealed in a 2016 court affidavit during the trial of the ISIS recruiter who directed Simpson to the contest, naturally sparked allegations of entrapment. Shockingly, the same undercover agent who texted him to tear up Texas was actually physically at the Caldwell Center during the attack. In fact, he was driving a car behind the shooters. Rather than apprehending the pair or intervening, the agent simply photographed the scene and fled after the gunfire started. Adding more bizarre and impossible facts to this already very surreal story, the agent actually was briefly detained by local police who were unaware of his identity as an FBI agent. Court records confirmed the agent's presence, and it raised questions about why they didn't intervene. And just in case anyone thinks the FBI might not have been aware of what might transpire at the event, just 3 hours before it started, the FBI sent a bulletin to the Garland Police Department with Simpson's photo, noting his interest in the event. Despite this, there was no heightened alert. The FBI did not intervene to try to stop it. They didn't warn local forces of the types of things Simpson had been saying he might do. So these revelations start emerging piecemeal. In August 2016, the Tear Up Texas text surfaced on an affidavit, and it prompted a lot of media scrutiny. 2017, CBS 60 Minutes reported detailed knowledge of the agent's on-site role, contradicting the FBI's claim initially that they had limited to no knowledge. Senate Judiciary Committee Chuck Grassley launched an inquiry in April of 2017, highlighting the discrepancies between Director James Comey's 2015 statement that the FBI had no real awareness of Simpson's travel or plans. And he weighed that against evidence of the agent's communication and presence at the event. Grassley demanded explanations for the agent's actions and why the FBI didn't act decisively to save lives. The guard who was wounded in the attack later sued the FBI for $8 million, and he alleged negligence and partial responsibility. Good for him. The suit claimed the agent encouraged the attack and failed to intervene. As of today, those appeals continue. The Department of Justice is arguing the agent's presence at the scene was merely coincidental. Regarding the Tear Up Texas text, the FBI described it as an effort to continue dialogue and to maintain cover. In 2017 testimony, the agent said he was surprised by the shooting, despite urging the shooter to tear up Texas. He was actually aware enough of the situation to be physically on site when it happened. Assistant FBI Director Michael Steinbach, in a 2015 House hearing, framed the attack as terrorism gone viral, stressing lawful surveillance, but not addressing specifics. I'm especially mindful of stories like this when I read warnings like the one issued yesterday about potential drone attacks from Iran targeting the west coast of the United States. The entire notion struck me as absurd and impossible. But the media ran with it. Social media ran with it. It fit the narrative. It changed the subject from the overwhelming censorship of bad news coming out of the Middle East. It heightened the fear of everyday Americans. It predisposed us to suspect a particular perpetrator if anything else goes wrong in the near future. And today, we learned that warning was, in fact, bogus. It wasn't true. It was, at best, bad information based on a single unsourced, unconfirmed, and uncorroborated tip. It was not actionable intelligence. It never should have been publicized before it was investigated, but it was. It's impossible to know how much of the information we've been fed about the bad guys over the last 45 years or so is true, and how much is just an absolute lie concocted, perhaps, by our own government. It's a tough question to even get out. Is it possible our government is intentionally making things worse in order to serve what they consider a greater purpose than our own safety and security? And that is your opening statement. I know a lot of people, when I talked about it the other day, said they never heard of it. I mentioned something about it on Twitter, and people were like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I thought, well, let's do an open about it. That way you'll know. All right. I want to recap what happened yesterday. Actually, I got a little bit of breaking news here. 2 KC-135 refueling planes have crashed. One landed safely. One went down with 6 crew on board. So we will keep that situation in mind as we go forward. There's a statement from CENTCOM. It's very brief. The U.S. Central Command is aware of the loss of a KC-135 refueling aircraft. The incident occurred in friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury. Rescue efforts are ongoing. 2 aircraft were involved in the incident. One of the aircraft went down in western Iraq, and the second landed safely. This was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. So what caused it? What caused it? I think that's a natural follow-up. Well, that's a very, very unfortunate situation. All right. So I want to briefly recap what happened last night, because I know people were having trouble with it. I know some people watched it this way. And I know some people watched it with this coming in and out and all that. So let me just recap, because it sets up tonight. We're going to continue the discussion tonight. We opened apparently entirely too far over the target. because we found, actually one of our viewers found on Discord, that in January of 2020, and I'm going to keep these dates in mind. I want to elaborate on these dates a little bit tonight. January of 2020, Lori Abbas. She was going by Lori Abbas, not Lori Frantzve, which she's professionally gone by for years, not Lori Ginta, which is her maiden name. I mean, her married name. But she went by Lori Abbas, a name she has not donned that I'm aware of since 1969. She forms a charity. This charity is with a guy named Yaku Boyens. We'll talk about him a little more tonight. There's only 3 people I can find involved in the charity, or 4 people really. Lori, Yaku, and then the only other 2 are a guy named John Duplay and Donald Hoffman. What's interesting about this quadro of people is Lori, John Duplay, and Donald Hoffman all work together. They work at Lori's company in Arizona, and then Yaku Boyens works as a minister in Texas, or works as a nonprofit guy in Texas. And so it's interesting to me that this was formed in Texas, not in Arizona where these 3 live as opposed to the one. And it's formed under her maiden name, almost making it impossible to track it down unless you knew to look for it. And as we were looking for it, we asked, who is this Yaku Boyens? And we saw he was intimately connected with TPUSA over the years, did a lot of speaking events, shows up on their website. He's listed as a lead pastor at some a branch of a church in Washington, D.C. He and his wife together have been in the modeling business, interestingly. They spent a lot of time in the modeling business, procuring models. And they spent some time in the movie business, producing movies, primarily a single movie about transporting underage children for illegal activity. We looked at his history of filings, his nonprofit filings, and then we finally figured out that there are these different residential facilities that he's involved in, and that he is either on the board of, or his charity is planning to open these, or he speaks on behalf of. But there's these different residential facilities where they'll house between, like, say, 20 and 100 young girls typically at these residential facilities for the most vulnerable people in the world, the young children or children becoming teens or even young adults who have been transported for illegal activity, who've been just completely stripped of humanity, who've been traumatized beyond anything you and I can probably recognize, unless you were in that situation, of course. And we wondered, like, why is Lori Abbas, Frantzve, why is she involved with this guy? How did she even end up involved with this guy? And then we looked at a connection between one of Yaku Boyens' employees, current employees, according to LinkedIn, in our opinion. One of his current employees is a woman named Jenna. Jenna, believe it or not, shows up in the Einstein files. Jenna's best friend, according to the author in the Einstein files, is a girl named Leslie Groff. Leslie Groff is Jeffrey Einstein's right-hand man. She appears in the files over 130,000 times. She is, without a doubt, his closest employee, I think. And for some reason, has never been questioned that I'm aware of. For some reason, is not really identified much. Most people talk about some of the other famous names we hear of, but here's somebody who very intimately involved with the entire operation, or at least appears to be. And it's her best friend who goes to work for Yaku Boyens. Her name's Jenna. And so we have this line that forms from Erika Frantzve Kirk to her mom, Lori, from Lori to Yaku Boyens via this charity that has to do with whatever it has to do with, but this guy spends a lot of time around these victims who are being transported for illegal crimes. And then through Yaku Boyens to this Jenna girl, who is the best friend of Jeffrey Einstein's number one employee. So you get this weird little connection that grows. And as I'm looking at this, I think, This is too common. This is becoming a thing. And I'm having real trouble pinpointing the dates, because I'll get to this in a minute. But I think tracking the finances, something happened after Mr. Einstein passed away, or after he was arrested and put in custody. His entire operation appears, at least to me, to have been farmed out. No longer could it continue on the path it was on. All of a sudden, all these other charities start coming into ridiculous sums of money. And I'll show you a couple of examples of that tonight. And then you have other people who get into the child transportation protection business. They start investigating. They start doing movies about it. They start opening charities where they're bringing these girls into homes. This is not something they were doing before. This is something they were doing afterwards. And so I just asked myself, was there something to this timing? Was there something to this timing? And that brought me to a guy named Tim Ballard, because a lot of people there, now granted, people were very split last night in the audience on Jacoboyans. Some people just find it hard to believe the guy could do anything wrong, and he might not have. Let's just be honest. Maybe he did nothing wrong. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I can't state for certain. But his story reminded me so much of Tim Ballard. If you know Tim Ballard, if not, I'll introduce you to him in a moment. I'll show you a picture of him right now. Tim Ballard, here's a picture taken from actually a TP Action conference in 2023, Turning Point Action Conference. This is Tim Ballard speaking to Turning Point in 2023. This guy right here, and I have a video of a 2023 speech, as a matter of fact. I could play you. This guy right here made a name for himself almost on the exact career trajectory of Jacoboyans. But let me just play a brief clip of this here. I don't want to play much of it, but this is just a brief little midget of a clip.
Wow, you're so kind. Thank you.
So that's him at the Turning Point Action Conference. If you have any question of whether this guy's connected, don't have a question. He's there, I promise. But we don't need to belabor the fact and listen to his speech. You'll find out why in a moment. I'm a little shy of playing too much of anything Tim Ballard has said. Well, who is Tim Ballard? Who is Tim Ballard? Let's just take a look, because he's got an interesting story, and I think it ties into everything we've been talking about, and it might begin to answer the question that we started raising yesterday, that Candace started raising in the last couple of days. Is there some sort of connection between what happened to Charlie Kirk, the arrival and the appearance of Erika Frantzve on the scene? Is there any kind of connection between that and all of this activity that we talked about last night, these transporting children around for illegal activities? So who is he? He's the founder and former, we'll get to former in a minute, the founder and former CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, an anti-intimacy transportation organization. I actually saw this movie. The 2023 American Christian thriller, The Sound of Freedom, was inspired by Ballard's experiences. It was a semi-biographical tale. That's how we were sold. A semi-biographical tale. I watched it. It was great. He was removed as CEO and forced to leave the foundation or the operation in July of 2023 amid accusations of intimate misconduct by several employees. So in December of 2023, they say an independent law firm reached the conclusion that he had, quote, engaged in unprofessional behavior that violated the policies and values of the nonprofit organization. So this is kind of Tim Ballard. Well, lo and behold, you get down here a little farther and you find lawsuits and investigations. October 11, 2023, a married couple filed a lawsuit against the company and Ballard, accusing him of intimate assault and conditioning. A statement in the lawsuit The husband alleged Ballard wanted his wife to help out with the organization despite her having no training or any sort of undercover work. And it went on to state that Ballard was abusing the couple's ruse. That would have Ballard have women posing underground as his wife or girlfriend to fool transporters. And it's a tool for intimate conditioning. If you read that, you can read that right there on your screen. That was in October 11 of 2023. January 2024, one of his accusers filed additional criminal complaints of intimate assault in California, followed by a federal suit in October under the Victims of Transportation and Violence Protection Act. October 2024, 6 women sued him in state court and an additional lawsuit in federal court. Alleged he engaged in the very thing he was supposed to be fighting, transporting for illegal activity. And then in November 2025, there was a complaint in Salt Lake, and they did not pursue it after a little bit of investigation. So I bring this up because, here is yet another example of Tim Ballard at TPUSA as a speaker at TPUSA. He's on the speaker profile for TPUSA students, by the way. These are the people that want to get in your high schools. Tim Ballard, the founder of Operation Underground Railroad. This is currently on their website. This is not like an archive. Former Department of Homeland Security agent who's led efforts to rescue thousands of children. Real life inspiration behind the sound of freedom and a powerful voice for justice, liberty, and fight against evil. He challenges young Americans to stand up for truth, protect the vulnerable, lead with courage. So that is currently on the website. You can go there today at tpusastudents.com and you can find that profile. You can find videos of him speaking at TPUSA conferences. And you can engage. Like you can still comment on it. You can like the videos. It's crazy. It's crazy to me after all these allegations. So this was our rescue. And I'm digging in deep on this because last night we saw this Jacobuyans who had opened a charity with Lori Frantzve, and he was doing basically the same kind of thing. He's engaged in the same type of charitable enterprises. And I'm wondering, why are these people all doing this? And why is Erika and Lori always around it? Always around it. Just a quick recap here of what OUR is. It's now called Our Rescue, previously known as Operation Underground Railroad. United States non-governmental 501c3 organization that works to combat human transportation and child intimate exploitations through field operations, survivor support, and training and prevention. So this is what they do. This is the fundamental core of what this organization is. Now, we mentioned the movie. I saw the movie. The movie is very much all about that. Here's the IMDb from the movie. It was a very, kind of highly rated movie. It's 7.6 out of 10 on the IMDb. That's not terrible. But it's got a preview here. It was very dark. It involved them going deep into the jungles of South America and rescuing children. And it was crazy. It was a crazy movie. Jim Caviezel, who famously played Jesus in the Passion of the Christ, he was in it. But it's a legitimate movie. And it reminds me precisely of the movie we talked about last night that Jacobuyans is doing. He's doing a movie about the exact same thing. He's doing a movie about the exact same thing. I'm going to bring this up only because we may come back to this. We may come back to this because here is Tim Ballard mentioning Glenn Beck and saying, without Glenn Beck, there would be no Our Rescue. And of course, there would be no the Nazarene Fund. Our law enforcement here in the United States are the best in the world. We're proud to partner with many of them and support our efforts. We might come back to that because Glenn Beck has been a noted opponent of Candace Owens. He's been a noted shameless supporter, frankly, shameless, of Erika Kirk, refuses to look at anything she's done as anything but perfect. Every time she needs it, he can trot her out. He can try to support her and prop her up. It seems like as you get close to this, your videos get taken down, you start getting attacked, the trolls come out. It's really weird. It makes you wonder if there's something to it. Now, let me make a couple of points here. I'm going to go through the finances. Don't worry, our friends. We are not going to show anything here that needs this little notice here. I want to go over a couple of things here and then I want to compare it to TPUSA's, and I want you to see if you see a pattern, because I do. This is the fundraising for Tim Ballard's charity. 2014, $3 million, $3.5 million. 2014, $6 million. So growing, but reasonable. 2016, $7 million. Growing, but reasonable. 2017, $12 million. Again, growing, but nothing crazy. 2018, $17 million. Okay, I mean, it's pretty close. 12, 17, it's growing again. 2019, $22 million. So now we're really getting up there. It more than doubles between 2019 and 2020. All of a sudden, this, adding a few million here and there every year to kind of grow, all of a sudden it goes from 22 million to 47 million. And let me tell you something that happened in 2019, because I'm going to show you the same timeline with TPUSA in a minute. I always attributed the massive jump in TPUSA's revenues around 2019 and 2020. I always attributed that to Erika Kirk showing up on the scene. There was a huge bump when they started dating and got engaged, and there was another huge bump when they got married. I mean, like tens of millions of dollars bump, and that's what happened here. A $25 million bump from 2019 to 2020. You know what else happened in 2019? Not only did Erika Kirk arrive on the scene, that's one thing. She arrived at TPUSA. These aren't TPUSA's finances. These are Tim Ballard's group's finances. This is when Einstein was arrested and ultimately passed away. So in 2019, he's arrested and passed away. And then child transportation organizations start raising money out the roof. They start raising money out the roof. Here in 2023, it's up to $50 million. And then back down to $32 million. But notice how much he pays himself here. Notice how much he pays him. Look at this. In 2023, Tim Ballard paid himself almost $600,000 from a nonprofit. That's a ton of money. I mean, that's a ton of money. A school teacher doesn't make that in 10 years. I find that fascinating. I do want to show you, just because we just talked about it, the same time period on TPUSA. Now, I'm not alleging, well, I kind of am, but TPUSA 2015, $2 million. 2016, $4 million. 2017, $8 million. 2018, $10 million. Then Erika Kirk arrives as the girlfriend. It goes from $10 million to $28 million. In 2019, our good friend in New York gets arrested. And then it goes to $39 million. And then it goes to $55 million. All of a sudden, it's just money coming out the wazoo. Now, but Baron, are you suggesting all of the Einstein money was redirected to TPUSA? No, of course not. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is money had to go somewhere. If you assume they didn't just shut down all the operations, if you assume they tried to put some sort of a nonprofit layer over it, you might assume people in the anti-human transportation business might get a piece of it. Especially when they then go on, some of them, to get sued for these very things, get arrested for these very things. Talked about that last night. So we talked about the detailed allegations against him. Now, I want to show you an interview with Tim Ballard. I'm only going to show you about 25 or 30 seconds of this. I want to show you a quick little interview with Tim Ballard, because there's an appearance very early on in this interview of someone we talked about last night. And I want to transition to that here in just a moment. tonight's going to get a little dense at this point. So if you have trouble with high IQ subjects, this might be a difficult night to follow along, because we're about to get cap and gown and get a little dense here for the next 20 minutes or so. I want you to watch a little piece of this interview. And as you do, I want you to say, who is that girl and where do I know that name from?
And for pedophiles, and shame on them.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
I am Turning Point USA contributor Erin Elmore, and today I had the pleasure of sitting down with Tim Ballard and Eduardo Vorastegui.
That's the girl we talked about last night. She's the one employee that was paid from Lori Abbas's charity. She's the only employee that got a check. Remember? It was $15. 15 hours a week, and she made, I think, $37,500 a year for working for them. She's the only one. She's the only one that got paid. She then went on to work, if you recall, as the director of, what was her title? The director of art or something for the U.S. Embassy. It's called U.S. Department of State Art in Embassies. Here's her profile. She's now married to Dan Scavino. I'm not alleging any illegality on behalf of these people. I'm just bringing this up to transition topics here. This is Erin Scavino, married to Dan Scavino. Dan Scavino may be the closest single person to Donald J. Trump in government. But this is Erin Scavino. She's the director of art in Embassies. She was the girl in that video a moment ago with promoting Tim Ballard's movie. She was the girl who worked for Jaco Booyens, who does the exact same thing. He's also in that same industry, trying to, be around this child transportation stuff. So let me get a little cap and gown for a moment, because I did a little dive into the Department of Art in Embassies. And what I found was weird. I don't know what to make of it. I got a lot of smart people in the audience. It's a high IQ outfit. And so I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll just talk about what I found, and you guys do what you do, right? Tell me what you see. This is an article I'm going to show you here. If I can get past this stupid ad. This is an article written by, of all people, Hillary Clinton. She wrote this article. I would show you. It says it right here on the top left, by Hillary Clinton. But as soon as I show you the diplomacy of art, as soon as I show you that, I get the ad. It's a very short article. In my line of work, Hillary Clinton, this is in 2013 while she's Secretary of State, we often talk about the art of diplomacy as we try to make people's lives a little better around the world. Well, that's arguable. But in fact, art is also a tool of diplomacy. Huh? Art? It reaches beyond governments, past the conference rooms and presidential palaces, to help us connect with more people in more places. Well, that's a really weird statement. It's a universal language in our search for common ground and our shared expression of humanity. That's why art in embassies is so important. And she goes on to explain the history of art in embassies. It was first idealized in 1953. John F. Kennedy formalized it, codified it into U.S. law in 1963. And now they work with over 20,000 participants globally, including artists, museums, collectors, and galleries. Well, let me just pause you for a second. Modern art is trash. It's trash. It looks like trash. It is trash, by and large. Yes, there are a few modern artists that can still make beautiful paintings. They don't get famous. Not many of them. Most of them toil, mostly unknown, and they'll sell their arts at local galleries for $1,000 or $2,000. Then you have people like Hunter Biden. Now, Hunter Biden, he makes a hefty sum on his art. He'll do a painting and sell it for hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. Or at least he did while his father was president. I wonder how his art business is doing today now that his father is basically an invalid. But for a while, he was a happening artist. He was selling art to everybody. Everybody wanted a Hunter Biden. And if you looked at it, it looked like my fifth grader did it. It just didn't look like very good art. There's a lot of people in the modern art world that are that way. George W. Bush, somebody in the comments said George W. Bush. He also does art, weirdly. I don't know if he sells his pieces, though. But this is a way to launder money. Sorry, it is. If I owe you $40 million for something illegal, and I've got a piece of art, I can't just cut you a check for $40 million. People will start asking, what the hell is this for? If you get audited, they'll say, why did you give him a check for $40 million? If it's illegal, we're both going to prison. But if I bought art from you, ooh. Oh, I bought this beautiful painting. It's a Hunter Biden original. I'm not suggesting Hunter got 40 million, but there's a lot of modern art that goes for ridiculous sums of money. The art industry is notoriously a money laundering industry. It is also, there's some legitimate artists. I'm not saying it all is, but stay with me here for a moment. Because we just talked about Aaron Elmore, who's now Aaron Scavino holds that position. Who else has held that position in the past? For example, who held it under Hillary Clinton? This will give us an idea of what kind of people, what kind of department this really is. This is Beth Dozeretz. Well, you've probably never heard of her. I hadn't before I started running down this rabbit trail. Beth Dozeretz. She's a businesswoman and political activist. Recently completed a fellowship at Harvard. Oh, she sounds very qualified, focusing on international relations. Oh, surprise. Serves as Director of Art in Embassies for the U.S. Department of State, which uses art as a means to open communication and cultural connections between people. Well, is that what they're doing there? So who is Beth Dozeretz? I had to know. I found an article on Beth Dozeretz. Believe it or not, went back to Vanity Fair. Here's where we can figure out who this woman is. And does she know anybody powerful? This is talking about the pardon of Mark Rich under Bill Clinton, if you remember that story. It's a huge scandal. His ex-wife, Denise Rich, allegedly paid Bill Clinton a bunch of money or paid his foundation or his library or something a bunch of money in order to get her ex-husband a pardon. While this guy was looking for ways to make his way into the Clinton administration, he turns to his friend and business associate, Beth Dozeretz. She's a trustee of the Clinton Library, who'd proudly visited the White House 96 times in the preceding 2 years. Very few people that don't work there go 96 times in 2 years. That's almost once a week. A perfect character for a Washington novel, but one you couldn't make up. The aggressively social, thrice-married Dozeretz, former New York Garment District executive, had come out of nowhere to become a finance chair for the Democrat National Committee and have Bill Clinton be the godfather of her adopted daughter in a Jewish naming ceremony blessed by a Swami. I don't even know what a Swami is. After pledging $1 million for the library, she solicited half of that from her friend, Denise Rich. She's married to a psychiatrist, Dozeretz is, who made a fortune providing mental health services through state contracts. And she frequently chats with the president on her cell phone. She's friendly with the Barak family. I assume that's the Ehud Barak family. Serves on the executive committee of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. And plunged into helping her friend Denise's very rich former husband. So this is the type of person that Hillary Clinton looked at and said, I have a position that's going to lead up the Department of Art in Diplomacy or Art in Embassies. I need somebody like this. Who else did she hang around with? You guys remember pizza? Remember the pizza stuff that went on during the 2016 election? I do. The pizza stuff was tied to a pizza place owned by a guy named James Alefantis. So this is Democrat doyen Beth Dozeretz feted Huffington at her Wesley Heights house and celebrated her latest book, Right is Wrong, on Sunday night. Co-hosts included Debbie Dingell, the congressman, Rhonda Glickman, who I have no idea who that is, David Brock, and James Alefantis. David Brock and James Alefantis were a couple at the time. And they ran the famous pizza place that became the subject of Pizzagate. That's who Beth Dozeratz is hanging around. That's the type of people she hangs around. That's the type of person she is. In case you don't remember, I'll show you just a brief line here showing you that James Alefantis right here is the owner of Comet Ping Pong, a pizza restaurant in Washington, also a big Democratic donor, supporter, raised money for both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, once in a relationship with David Brock, an influential liberal operative. So that's the type of politically connected person they want running this art in embassies. And keep in mind, the person currently running art in embassies once worked for a Lori Abbas charity with Jacobuyans, and then was promoting another child transportation for illegal, immoral purposes charity. So I want to introduce you to a company. I told you we're going to get a little cap and gown. This is the last little cap and gown segment, and then we'll lighten it back up. I want to introduce you to a company called Masterpiece International. This is their website, Masterpiece International. It's part of Imperative Logistics Group. These guys specialize in shipping art. That's what they do. Coordinating, packaging, and transporting museum expositions, acquisitions, and exchanges. Seamless transportation for every shipment, from managing simple crate moves to chartering the largest air cargo freighters. That's what they do. That's all Masterpiece does, is they ship art. They ship art. Well, if you are working for the art in embassies, you need a person like Masterpiece because they ship art. That's what they do. I will tell you that's exactly who they contract with to ship their art around the world, Masterpiece. And it's interesting because Masterpiece has worked out a little deal with governments around the world. This is going to take a second because this is an archive link pulling up. But Masterpiece has worked out a little deal where they don't go through security. They don't go through customs when they're shipping art around the world. Meaning they could ship a lot of stuff. They could just ship art. And I'm not alleging they ship other stuff, but they could. They could because they've got all these fast-track security procedures. Hopefully at some point this will pull up. I'll show you real quickly while that's pulling up. Masterpiece International contracts with a shipping container company to help ship all of their equipment. Here's a sample bill of lading from Masterpiece International. And if you slide down and see who it is they're using to ship, this is obviously one that went through Asia, the Orient Star here. But if you go down to the bill of lading, they're using a company called Zim. This is Zim Integrated Shipping Services. I'll tell you who they are in just a moment. Let me go over to this tab now that it's up. This is Masterpiece talking about their fast fine art shipping and consultation. As a licensed U.S. customs broker and approved international freight forwarder, Masterpiece provides custom brokerage and international domestic air and ocean freight forwarding services to clients. This includes in-house consultation, coordination of shipments requiring specialized expertise with other U.S. regulatory agencies. We also operate and maintain TSA security program, which includes national TSA security coordinators on each coast, work closely with the TSA during the preliminary phases of the certified cargo screening program to facilitate early approvals. And if you'll notice here, we have permission at most U.S. airports to take our own vehicles plane-side for supervision of transfers and arriving and departing shipments going between planes or cargo terminals. And in some ocean ports can arrange for staff to oversee loading and unloading of containers and ocean vessels. Again, if you're a legitimate art business, that might be helpful. But if you are transporting illegal stuff, that would also be very helpful. That would also be very helpful. I'll tell you why I mentioned that in just a second. I showed you one bill of lading. I could show you another one just to show you that this is the carrier, the cargo company they use. This is another Masterpiece International bill of lading. I could only find two, and both of them said Zim. This is Zim Israel Navigation Company. This is the carrier. So we got to ask ourselves, who's Zim? Who are we dealing with here in the U.S. ARC embassies? This is Zim. Zim Integrated Shipping, known as Zim, is a publicly held Israeli international cargo shipping company, one of the top 20 global carriers. Company's headquarters in Haifa, founded in 1945, traded on the New York Stock Exchange since 2021. This is what they do. Now, you'll notice they've gotten so much heat here in the last year or so, they've actually sold to a German company because people didn't want to use them anymore because of some of the international affairs going on in our greatest ally. But I bring that up because this company's amazing. Zim is amazing. I was shocked when this was just me going down a rabbit hole. This was me just looking, thinking, not everything pans out. Sometimes you'll go down a rabbit hole for 3, 4, 5 hours and you'll think, there's nothing here. I saw this line and almost panicked. This is Governor Gilmore, October 18th of 2001. So 6 weeks after 9/11, 5 weeks after 9/11. Governor Jim Gilmore announced Zim American Israeli Shipping Company has officially opened its United States headquarters in Norfolk's Lake Wright Executive Park. Well, where were they before that? Because they announced in April they would invest $6.2 million to locate its new building and would hire people to work in the facility. The firm completed its move to Norfolk from New York City's World Trade Center 2 weeks before the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Well, isn't that dadgum convenient? What a stroke of luck. Can you imagine? I can't imagine how thankful they must have been on 9/11 to realize that they had just vacated their office 2 weeks before. That's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. Baron, are you saying Aaron Elmore had anything to do with 9/11? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is a very important agency. This is an agency that deals with transportation around the world. This is an agency that has special abilities, that contracts with companies that have special abilities to evade certain security protocols as they ship art. And if you think about the worst people in the world, they might also like to take advantage of people who can evade security as they transport things around the world. They might. People who move humans, people who move mind-altering substances, people who move weapons. They might like to contract with people like this. I'm going to show you a story here of something that this Zim company was up to. Now, keep in mind, we're being told our friends over there in Iran have been our enemies for 40-something years, right? 47 years? 47, yes, since 1979. And we're being told that our greatest ally insists that these people have been our enemy for 47 years. So here is the Israeli arms shipment headed for Iran, seized in Germany. This was in 2002, right after 9/11. Right during the war in Afghanistan. The passage of an Israeli ship loaded with military equipment was blocked by German customs officials in Hamburg, claiming its cargo was headed for the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas. No relation to Lori Abbas, by the way. Shipment contained 3,000 Israeli-made rubber treads for armored personnel vehicles, was dispatched by the private Israeli company PAD aboard the Zim Antwerp ship, confirmed the Israeli Defense Ministry. So that's one story on it. Here's another one from a newspaper in Israel. Germany stops Israeli ship carrying military equipment destined for Iran. Private Israeli ship carrying military equipment was stopped by customs officials at Hamburg yesterday on suspicion that its cargo was bound for Iran, the Israeli Defense Ministry said. A private Israeli ship carrying military equipment stopped by customs officials on suspicion it was bound for Iran. So the hypocrisy knows no bounds. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. So we're being led into a war right now against a country that we're being told on the evening news and by all our Republican and all our Democrat leaders, oh, we've been at war with these people for 47 years. They've been our greatest ally's been at war with them for 47 years. Well, not exactly. Because just not too terribly long ago, they were actually shipping them military equipment. We all knew about Iran-Contra. We were shipping them military equipment in the 80s, but they were shipping them military equipment after 9/11. This is the type of people involved in these types of activities. Because we keep coming back to this notion of vulnerable young children and women being transported, sometimes around the world, sometimes within the country, for immoral purposes. So I point you to a charity many of us have probably never heard of, the Florence Crittenden charity, where hope comes to life, transitions. This charity runs residential facilities for at-risk girls and young women. That's what they do. Most of the girls here, many of the girls here were transported for illegal purposes. This is the Florence Crittenden Foundation, or Florence Crittenden, whatever it's called. If you slide down on this newsletter here, you'll find the Teaming Up for Girls Committee from 2013. And you'll notice right here on the left-hand side, I might have to zoom in a little bit for you, a mother-daughter combo. Now, they haven't bragged about this one. They've bragged about so much of their other charitable endeavors. There's Erika and Lori Frantzve. Again, once again, like in Jaco, Costa Rica, like in Arlington, Texas, right at the heart, right at this, like in Constanta, Romania, right in the middle of where this stuff is going on. Getting involved in that industry. Right in the middle of that industry. This teaming up for girls. This is a quick debrief here of what it is this charity did. They raised money for this something called Girls Ranch in Phoenix and Scottsdale, a licensed residential group home that provides housing and comprehensive services to young women aged 12 to 18 who've suffered trauma related to abuse, neglect, substance abuse. Girls Ranch became a supporting foundation of Florence Crittenden in the fall of 2005. Began its new program for pregnant and or parenting girls between the ages of 12 and 18 who are in need of independent living, life skills, and home management and parenting skills training. Again, dealing with the most vulnerable young girls in society. This is, for some reason, we keep coming back to this same theme time and time and time and time again. Anytime there's an allegation of this, or anytime Erika and her mom get involved in some sort of charitable endeavor, it seems like they're right around this same industry. Right in the midst of that same industry. Now, here's something that, just to give you an idea of sometimes things go wrong and why some bad people might want to be involved around industries like this. This is a therapist at one of these Florence Crittenden facilities. Did this to a teen, told her it was part of the treatment. Therapist who worked at a treatment facility for troubled teens allegedly did that to a girl in a hotel after telling her it was part of the therapy. 51-year-old Julie Heron, therapist at Florence Crittenden Services in Topeka, Kansas, when she conditioned a 16-year-old patient. So again, I'm not suggesting the Frantzves had anything to do with this woman. But what I'm saying is there are some people who find themselves continually around these things for a reason. And to me, I don't think they would be not highlighting it. Erika brags about everything she's ever done, even things she hasn't done. She'll brag about degrees she may not have. She brags about academic credentials she may not have. She brags about charitable endeavors and expands them and says she's doing stuff. She tells people she went to China to work for charity when it looks like she was there living with a boyfriend. She told people she went to Puerto Rico for charity. It looked like she was living with a boyfriend. She tells people this Romanian Angels thing. They were running an orphanage. Well, it turns out they were delivering maybe Christmas presents to an orphanage that was already there. So there's this constant need to fluff up, to improve the story, to make it bigger than it is, until we get to Jaco, Costa Rica, which is a hotbed of transportation for illegal activities of young women and underage children. And then all of a sudden we don't talk about that. That doesn't come up. We don't mention that. It was on a website, but you got to go to the Wayback Machine to find it because it's been deleted. We don't talk about the Florence Crittenden Foundation. Lori doesn't talk about her work with Yakabuyans. And I think there's something to it. I think if you combine all of this information, what we're kind of unwinding here, you combine it with what Candace is sort of uncovering was going on, maybe the reason Erika really lived in New York, what she was really doing in New York, you can begin to piece together a story that sort of looks like maybe there's more to the Frantzves and Erika Kirk than we're led to believe. Maybe it's much darker. And then you back up from that and say, if I'm right about that. And I don't know that I am. It's just an opinion, just floating it out there. But if I'm right about that, does it have any application to the fact that TPUSA's finances absolutely exploded when Erika Kirk arrived, or Erika Frantzve and then Erika Kirk? I mean, just exploded, like 500% increase in a couple of years. And does it have any application to the fact that there was this huge organization built out with all these employees and all these volunteers and all this travel and all these sub-charities and all this money coming in and out? I told you before, if you ever want to go into the money laundering business, you need to open a charity. I'm not saying all charities are money laundering business. There's a lot of really good charities out there. I've worked for some of them. Really good charities. But if you wanted to launder money, it's a great industry to get into. Because the money comes in and the money goes out. And you don't have any accountability for what happened. No one's looking over your shoulder. The IRS, you're not filling out taxes. You're just kind of saying, oh, we spent $1.7 million on goods and services. You're not really ever having to explain who were these people providing the goods and services. You've got all this travel you can do. Say, oh, it was company business. You could take private planes where you can just walk cargo or walk people right up to the plane. You're not flying Southwest where they keep a very dutiful manifest and they double check and triple check. And then before they shut the door, the last thing the flight attendants do is walk and see who everybody's sitting, where they're sitting. They double check it, make sure everybody's in the right seat. You don't have all that. You're on a Gulfstream 5. You drive right up to the airport. You walk right out to the thing and on the plane you go and off you go. I actually hope I'm wrong about all this, but I've got this bad feeling I'm not. I've got this really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach that I'm not. Preparing for this show today and seeing yet another example of where these women were involved yet again, yet another time around this same industry, around the same area, around this same crime, and knowing that they brag about everything they do, but they don't brag about this. almost as if they want to be involved, but don't want people to know they're involved. And that's what troubles me. That's what disturbs me. That's why I say I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong for multiple reasons. One is it's a sad reality that this happens to tens or hundreds of thousands of people annually, just in our country, not much less around the world. But I hope I'm wrong, because this woman, Erika, is accumulating a lot of clout, a lot of power. She's going to be palling around next month with the Vice President of the United States on stage. She's palling around with the President of the United States. Some of the people who worked in and around her mom are running international organizations on behalf of the United States, transporting art around the world. We hope they're doing it for the right reason. We hope they're only shipping art. I just wonder, with all those loopholes, and the research gets so much worse. I didn't bring it all up because I didn't want to get too cap and gown. But if you start looking at all the people who hang around this art and industry business, I'm talking about people like the Podestas, talking about people like the Abramovic woman. I mean, like, they're the people going to the parties. They're the people going to these events. And I'm sure there's some other good people. But on the board, if you look up historical board appointments for these things, it's a who's who. There are trillions of dollars worth of wealth locked up in these boards, of these art boards. I mean, people that are worth by themselves 50, 100, 200, 300 million dollars. And then you got a board full of 30 of them. You're talking trillions of dollars worth of wealth locked up in a single board, and their only job is to promote art and transporting art around the world. And you start thinking, gosh, is that what they're doing? Is it really art? Is it really all art? Because why is it that the people that get involved in art are the people involved in Pizzagate? Why is it the people getting involved in art are the people involved in the Tim Ballards and Jacobuyans of the world? Why? It's not like most crimes. This isn't like a gang, right? The gang operates, in the inner city or whatever. They operate in some area. And they wear clothes. They're easily distinguishable. They make it their life. They make it their lifestyle. They make it their identity. I'm in X gang. Let's call them the hoodlums. I don't know. I'm in the hoodlum gang, the hoodlum on the east side hoodlums or whatever. Remember the Sharks and the Jets, right? It was their identity. But modern gangs take on a new twist. But modern gangs are easily identifiable. They use hand signs. They carry, maybe they wear particular types of clothing, colors or brands. Maybe they wear their hat a certain way. Maybe they hang out in a certain area of town, but it's their entire identity. It's not like they go work at the bank all day and then like, well, I'm going to go kick it with the homies tonight on the street corner. We're going to have our guns out. No, I mean, you're talking about people that are 24 hours, 7-day-a-week gang members. You don't join the gang and then go work at Wall Street. And then in the afternoons and the weekends, and you take a PTO day to go do gang stuff and, cook up some crack or whatever. That's not how it works. This crime, you don't make it your identity. You hide it. You hide it behind foundations. You hide it behind private charities. You hide it behind secret parties where only your friends are going, and those types of people go. But in the daytime, when you're on Fox News or you're on MSNBC, well, I'm just a government worker. I head up a charity, or I work on Wall Street. It's not your fundamental identity. So when you look at this, you say, well, surely if they were all into this, if they all did this, we would know. Well, we only know if they get caught. And then we all go, oh, gosh, that guy? Wow, I would have never thought that. Well, that's the point. You would have never thought that. You would have never thought that. That's the whole point, is to keep it hidden. But I think Candace has done a good job lately and Tucker for a little while was on this, pointing out the demonic nature of a lot of these people who get into politics at a very high level. And to get into the hangers-on and the charities surrounding politics. There's a price to pay to get in. We've talked about this. You guys know what the price is. It's your soul. You pledge your soul Whether you know you're doing it or not, that's the price to get into this industry. That's the price to get famous in politics. That's why I was so surprised when Donald Trump was able to get through the system in 2015 and 2016, because I thought, here's a guy they don't really have anything compromising on. Well, it turns out maybe they do. Like Donald Trump, when he ran in 2015 and 2016, it was almost refreshing because you thought, here's a guy who, like, yeah, he has his way with young models and, supermodels and, adult actors, but he doesn't like he brags about it. He's like, yeah. There were 5 of them. They were amazing. You should have been there. I do a terrible Trump impression, by the way. But it turns out maybe I was wrong. Maybe I misread the entire thing. Maybe it was darker than we all imagined it was, because there certainly isn't a indication anyway. Certainly an indication that that maybe the whole thing was worse than we thought. So I wanted to bring that to you because I didn't feel like yesterday was complete without taking it one step further. I do believe there are darker components to this involving more people you know and have heard of. I do. I mentioned one of their names today, and we'll see. We're going to start the deep dive on that one. Hopefully that doesn't go very far. It's a guy I used to really like, and his politics kind of suck now, but I would hate to know he's involved in something like this. But he's very close to the Erika Kirk. So I don't know what's there. We'll find out. Grumblers, I got bad news. I just opened it. And so any donation chat you guys have given me, I would have missed. So I'll try to just be generous and read some random comments in there as we go. All right, let me run through some of your comments. Any questions related last night? Happy to entertain them. Again, I had no idea that was going to happen. And I had no idea it was going to be put back up at times like this, where my face was being. I don't know what's up with my face. Apparently, it has to get redacted from time to time as well. But at least they didn't redact these shoulders, right? Adfleet's shoulders are still there. Baron, great evening, sir. Will you be able to elaborate on what happened to last night's show? I tried. On target, no doubt. Please continue to pray for my husband's discernment and clarity. Thank you, Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I mean, I think I've elaborated enough. I don't know if there's anything more I need to elaborate on. It was a very weird experience for me. I don't feel like I did anything different last night than I always do. I've made it a point on this program to bring receipts. I don't just say stuff. If I say stuff, I try to put it up on the screen in front of you so we look at it together. If I tell you someone formed a charity with somebody, I put up the documents where they formed it. If I say there's an email in the e-files, I put the email up and try to show you the email so that I'm not just over here making stuff up. I don't like when people make stuff up. And so I try to do that. And apparently, apparently I got a little too over the target. Good day from West Australia. Oh, good day. Good day, mate. I'm curious. I'm curious if there was any time closer to 9:10 that Charlie paused pushing for the e-files. Curious if someone threatened that Erika is in them, which may have given him a reason to look more into her past. It's a good speculative question. I don't know. I never saw him pause. He seemed very insistent that they be released in full, that we know what's going on. And so I can't answer that. But I imagine the more connected he got over time, the more he probably realized what was in his house. Baron, please congratulate my husband on surviving 27 years being married to me. He is my everything. He deserves a gold medal for loving me through childhood trauma. The best is yet to come. Christ is King. Helga Lega Shing Dong. Helga Shaba Laba Ding Dong. Christ is King indeed. And Helga, I got your email, by the way. You don't have to ask. I'm not sure what to do with it, but I got it. I've reviewed it. I've looked at it. And we'll have to talk about that. down the road. But congratulations on being married 27 years. Your husband sounds brilliant, by the way. Confession on Saturday, and I'm on my way. Thank you, Baron, for the gentle nudge. Yeah, good. Feels good to clarify the soul. Even you non-Catholics, tell your sins to somebody. It's refreshing. But Baron, I wanted to ask about Redacted. Thank you for your answer. Yes. Yes. I don't give a damn. Said I donated $7,000 to our humble host, Baron. Ugh, I can't believe he missed that this one time. My imagination is now sad. Almost as sad as my humor. I don't give a damn. Sadly, I always will. It's a thing. Yeah, I missed your 7,000. I missed that one. They may have tried to throttle your research, but at least Fleet granted us with a beefcake Baron. Yeah, oh yeah, Baron beefcake. I didn't feel like a beefcake today rowing. We did a workout today that was 10 rounds of rowing with ended up being a couple of minutes of rest in between. And the first few rounds, I was like, this isn't bad. Why are we doing this? The last few rounds were awful. And I started thinking about Ad Fleet's version of me and thought he wouldn't complain. That guy would just yank on that rower all day long. So it kept me in the boots. It kept me going. My YouTube totally froze up. Imagine that. Mm-hmm. I imagine after they do something like they did last night, there'll be a little throttling attempt. So views may dip for a few days. The only way out of it, guys, is to like the videos, subscribe, share with your friends. It's the only way out of these little dips that YouTube inevitably throws at you. Hi, Baron. You and Daisy, investigative work is the best, as what happened proved. Number one podcaster, what did you think about Father Ripburger on Sean Ryan saying there are demonics at the Vatican, the top echelon? I think there are people like that in all types of organizations, unfortunately. A man-made, or not a man-made, but an organization made up of men, made up of humans. I mean, men in the broadest sense. It could be women as well. Maybe not the top echelon of the Vatican, but, other charities, for example, like we've been talking about tonight. Anytime you get an organization of humans, you're going to have problems. It's just going to happen. You guys know who William F. Buckley is? William F. Buckley had a saying. I think it was William F. Buckley. Now that I think about it, it might have been Thomas Sowell. But one of them had a saying that any organization that's not expressly right-wing will eventually be left-wing. I have a theory as to why that is. I can't say it on air. It doesn't involve demons, believe it or not. Oh, I'll say it. It's because inevitably, don't take this the wrong way, ladies. This is just numbers. Inevitably, you start getting more and more women involved in it, and women drag things to the left over time. That's not me banging on women. I'm thankful that you guys are out there. I have a lot of faith in the women, particularly women that watch this program and others like this. But, by and large, I mean, women are kind of 60-40 to the left. Men are kind of 60-40 to the right. And as a result, the country is kind of 50-50. That's just the nature of humanity. And so if you don't have an organization that says we are explicitly right-wing, it eventually will slowly be dragged to the left. That's my suspicion. I don't know. I've never proved that. I've never sat down empirically and tried to prove that. You're making me want key lime pie with that sweatshirt. It's beautiful, isn't it? I got a gray shirt on underneath to match the little gray logo. P.S. I just heard audio of a woman trying to lure in Einstein victim to Einstein. The voice sounds like Erika. I'll email it to you. Okay. There's a lot of assumptions there. One is that the audio is real and not some kind of AI thing. Two is that the audio really does sound like her, and maybe other people sound like her, but I'll listen to it. Patiently waiting for the Grumbler members only content so I can dump the YouTube censor czars. A couple of problems with that. One is, and I've talked to the top brass at Grumble, and I've asked them, how can I do members only shows at Grumble? And they're like, you can't. Like, we don't allow it. It's not something we offer. You do a show, you do it for everybody. I said, what do the members get? And they said, it's just kind of a way to support their favorite content creators. Like, it's a way, I'll give you an example. I heard this. After the censorship yesterday, it was being discussed on X, and somebody said, well, I want to go to Rumble anyway because they don't play as many ads. And I was like, well, A, I don't think it's necessarily true, but B, who do you think pays for Daisy and my sister and the equipment? I mean, it's ad based and it's donation based. I have resisted reading advertisements, and let me tell you guys, I've turned down a lot. I'm not bragging by that. I'm just saying I have resisted going down that road for multiple reasons. But one is the audience has done an adequate job of compensating us for our time, and so. And when I say us, I mean, it's a team. They've done an adequate job of compensating us for our time. And so I don't want to diminish, maybe is not the right word, but I don't want to alter the viewer experience just for money. Like if I needed it, like if it was like, hey, the ad revenue and the donation revenue is just not enough to support everybody. Yeah. Okay. Then we have to do ad reads. I've tried to avoid that though, because that at this point, it's not necessary. But the ad revenue is a critical component of it, and it's unfortunate that sometimes they run a lot of ads, but just understand that's what makes it possible to have the good research, to have the good organization, to have the good production, to get it on out there. So that's the problem with Grumble, though. You can't do a members only program at Grumble. They have locals, and you could do members only stuff at locals. And I've looked into that and may do that down the road. My first super chat, I think some RBP unredacted merch is in order. Love the show, and I appreciate your effort in the search for truth and light. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Yeah, I've been hawking the feed all night to make sure it stays up. But it's clear they got the throttle on it. I can tell that from some of the stuff on the back end. Like my click-through rate should not be as high as it is, meaning a lot of people aren't seeing it. But the click-through rate normally is pretty steady every night. There's a certain percentage it's really close to it every night, and tonight it's like triple, which means it's only going to people who are watching, not going to anyone else. The new footage Candace showed was not from camera, it was from sunglasses. A hand passes in front, the cam was up higher and stationary. I don't believe that's true. I have seen that footage with my own eyes on her phone. And it looks very much like it is that stationary camera behind him. What you were seeing was it was filmed. So imagine I've got my camera and the stationary footage is on the television in front of me, and I'm just recording it. I'm doing this and recording it, and I'm looking around. That's what you were seeing. And the hand in front is somebody pointing to something on the screen. So I'm pretty confident it's the stationary footage that Terrell grabbed from behind Charlie Kirk. I'm almost 100% certain. Now, I'm very interested in seeing what the camera guy, the glasses people were recording. That's a totally different scenario. The hand was in the video, not in front of phone, though. I don't think that's true necessarily. I'll have to go back and watch it. When I watched, I'll say this, maybe I watched a different video. The video I watched on her phone, it was nearly 100% certain to me that it was a stationary camera and that everything was happening between the camera and the television. But I'll have to go back. I did watch her show today, but I didn't watch that part very closely because I'd already seen the video. Ben's eyebrows have been redacted. Oh, has he changed them? I thought they were unredacted. He's letting those babies go. Ike has 2 white tattoos. Nobody talks about them. She wears a ton of jewelry, but the M golden ring hasn't been worn until the Big Bang. It screams, you completed your task. Your rank is now higher. It's not my son's initial. It's my son's initial. I can't comment on any of that. I know she has at least 2 white tattoos. I think there might actually be more. There's 2 that we know of. The excessive jewelry is a thing. I don't want to give my true thoughts on that because I could be wrong, and I don't want to attribute to her personality traits that might not be accurate. I know I say that after I've been banging on her a little bit on the show, but I do try to be fair. And I don't want to guess as to what mentally she's thinking as she dons 30 bracelets on each arm and a ring on every finger. I don't want to guess. But I think I can't comment on the ring. I don't know enough to know if what you're saying is accurate. That she never wore that M ring. But I do know her son's name is Mac. I mean, that's his name. It's MacArthur, but it's Mac. And so he's got an M and she's got a G ring for for Gigi. Now, it's possible she lying about that, but how are you ever going to prove that? How are you ever going to prove that? Yesterday, I was so frustrated because I didn't feel like CK will ever get justice, but today, CO's show was great, and you're great, and it made me realize how we can make them pay by never letting up on them ever. Thank you, Barron. Yeah, I mean, I think part of the... So I'm going to say something controversial. I got 3 examples. The first time I ever thought this was on Easter Vigil. When you go to Mass on Easter Vigil, Catholics, you guys have heard this song. But there's a song, if there's a deacon present, the deacon sings it. If not, someone else sings it. But there's a song the deacon sings. And there's a line in the song, and it is so striking when you hear it. It says, "Oh, happy fault of Adam." I'll read the whole line. I don't know the whole line. But that, "Oh, happy fault of Adam." Oh, happy fault. Yeah, "Oh, Felix culpa." Where are the lyrics, though? It's an important point I'm making, or I wouldn't take the time to look it up. It's called the Exaltet. So here it is. "Oh, wonder of your humble care for us." Now, again, this is the song that's sung the Saturday night before Easter, so it's very long, it's very deep. "Oh, love, oh, charity beyond all telling, to ransom a slave, us, you gave away your son." He's talking to God, talking about Jesus. "Oh, truly necessary sin of Adam, destroyed completely by the death of Christ. Oh, happy fault that earns so great, so glorious a Redeemer." The first time that those words hit me, I thought, oh my gosh, what are they saying? Like, wouldn't the world have been so much better if there was no sin? There would be no death. There would be no sickness. There's no friends dying of cancer, no friends dying of heart attacks, no parents dying long, grueling deaths with dementia. There's no car wrecks, unexpected deaths. There's nobody getting taken down on September 10th in front of a group of 3,000 people watching him give a speech on free speech, right? None of that if Adam holds it together. So when you hear that song, you think, wait a minute. Oh, truly necessary sin. Oh, happy fault. But when you read the commentary on it, what they're saying is the love of Christ is so much better. So much better than sinlessness. Because when you have messed up and you get that forgiveness from your spouse, you mess up, you get that forgiveness from your child, it's so much sweeter. It earns so glorious a Redeemer. So that's the first time I thought of that. This principle. Second time. Barack Obama running for president in 2008. We on the right, I don't know if you guys are all on the right watching, probably not. Just by law of averages, you're not. It was a long night for those of us on the right. Barack Obama had been sold to us as Satan incarnate. Manchurian candidate, most horrific human being that ever lived. Like, this is what we were told during the election. And so when it finally, and we just couldn't believe, like, I didn't know any Republicans are like, yeah, McCain's going to blow it. Obama's going to be the president. Like, it shocked the conscience that Obama could win. And then he won. And I remember watching at Grant Park where he's giving the speech and Michelle's up there. And I remember thinking, this is really happening. Like, it was surreal. And it was hard at the time to think, wow, that's really a good thing for the country. Like, that's not good for the country. It's good for the Republican Party that Barack Obama won. But the Republican Party polling was in the dumpers in 2008. The fact that Barack Obama could win was pretty telling, but George Bush was horrifically unpopular. The wars were unpopular. He was unpopular. The economy was not doing well. It was kind of sputtering along. And Republican polling was just in the dumper. And people were talking about after the Obama election, they were talking about the Republican Party taking potentially 20 to 40 years to recover. Nobody that night predicted that just 2 years later, the Republicans would absolutely trounce in the midterms. They would just roll in the midterms, take control of the House, massive gains in the Senate, and then the ultimate reward was Donald Trump in 2016. We thought. Looking back, maybe even not, but at least we thought. We thought finally we got one of our guys through. They'd given us George Bush. They'd given us George Bush Jr. They'd given us Bob Dole to vote for. They'd given us John McCain, like Mitt Romney. I mean, they'd given us these milquetoast, dull as dishwater, lukewarm Republicans. And then you get a guy who talks like us, who talks like we do when we're out with our boys, who talks like we do at the dinner table. You know, burn it all down. Close the border. What are we waiting on? I mean, let's just do it. Why are we in war? Shut down all the wars. I'll stop ISIS in a month. I mean, he basically did. The beginning of that first term was pretty wild. And so that was the second time I thought about it. That something terrible happened, but there was this amazing result that came out of it. At least at the time, I thought it was an amazing result. The third time was when Charlie Kirk passed away. And I think they thought it would be a quick 2 or 3 day news cycle. We would arrest a guy 33 hours later. We would blame it on Frantzve, and away we would go. But I think what's happened is this is a third example of a tragedy bearing tremendously good fruit on the backside of it. Not that God raised up another Charlie Kirk, not that conservatism raised up another Charlie Kirk, because that hasn't happened. Certainly not his betrothed. But what's happened is you've raised up, I think, millions of people who will never trust the government again. And I think that's a good thing. We've had enough. Now we want to investigate everything. We want to look under every rock. We want to turn over every stone. We want to lift up every couch cushion. We're looking for everything. I mean, tonight, we were in the Department of Art in Embassies. We're looking at trafficking charities. We're just going everywhere we can go, saying we're burning it all down. We're tired of you guys lying to us. We're tired of you telling us what we're supposed to believe. We're tired of you telling us to get over stuff when tragedy strikes. We're not doing it anymore. We're going to try to solve the 3 mysteries that took place with Charlie Kirk. 1, who did it? 2, how did they do it? And 3, why did they do it? Those are the 3 things I want answered before I move on. But while we're investigating those 3 questions, it's provided an opportunity to start turning over everything. That's the third time, only the third time in my life that I'm aware of where something hit me in that moment that sometimes you need a really bad event in order to launch something really good. And I'm not suggesting it's worth it obviously I'll take the church at their word that the fault of Adam was worth it. And frankly, I think Barack Obama was worth it because it did kind of purge the Republican Party a little bit. It made them get back to their roots. I'm not saying that the death of Charlie Kirk is worth it, but I'm saying it can be redeemed by raising up a huge swath of the global public to say, we're not going to do this anymore. We will not believe a word you tell us. We are done with you people. We are absolutely done with you people. You're not going to pull another one by us. We're not giving up on this. And while we're in this, we're going to start doing opening statements on all the patsies and all the things you guys do. We're going back to Garland, Texas, and we're going to look at why was the FBI talking to these people. We're going back to the Boston Marathon bombers. Why did the FBI show up at a domestic violence case and happen to see all this bomb making equipment that matched the Boston Marathon, and then everything went away and got swept under the rug? We want to know the answer to that. We want to know the answer to all these things. Like it's provoked that response, not just in me, but in others. And And so that's the answer to your question. Sorry. That was a little bit of a long answer, but I apologize. For the non-coffee drinkers, not a cup of Joe mugs, please. Thank you. Yeah, we don't have a cup of Joe mugs yet. The current mug says hold, please. I think by tomorrow, hopefully by tomorrow, the websites get merged and then we can roll it out because most of the testing is done. Products have been delivered, super high quality stuff. Printing is super high quality printing, some of the highest quality printing I've seen on a sweatshirt and t-shirt. Everything. I mean, we've done the testing. The mugs are great. They look great. They're big 14-ounce mugs, big mugs. So for roll that beautiful bean footage, don't give more vax to your newborn than you must. None is best. Bubba Baron, love your show from retired in Mexico. I'll add to that. Roll that beautiful bean footage. I know you were asking for advice. I thought of this and didn't give it. I've become very non-interventionist in my old age. But again, I think every parent needs to make the best decisions they can make. I would just encourage you to research, look into stuff, and make a good decision and go with it. I'm not going to tell people how to raise their kids. I have new eyes for false flags. Could the North Hollywood event from the 90s be the CIA? What is the North Hollywood? I don't know what it was. Probably. Probably. And I don't even know what it was, but yeah, probably. Can you please give us a rundown of what got deleted, aka redacted? Nothing got deleted that I can tell. What happened was a bunch of blurry boxes got put up. Some of them over my hands, curiously. I'm not sure what I was doing with my hands. Some of them over my face. Some of them over some documents we showed. I honestly can't figure out the pattern behind it, but I'm thankful they put it back up because we put probably 20 to 25 man hours into that show, just getting that one show ready. And I'd have been really sad if that was all gone. These shows take a lot of work. And that would have been frustrating to me to put that much work into something and have it gone. From yesterday's episode on X, so those of us who didn't get to watch it live won't be left out. The Rumble has the unedited version. If you want to go watch it there, you won't be left out at all. I don't know. You contact Rumble and you're like, hey, YouTube pulled a video and they edited it. And Rumble's like, I don't care. We don't care what you say. The work you put into your show is inspirational. Thank you, Want to Glorify God. I clearly see God is using you to share your wisdom, talents, and truth, but much more importantly, lead others to Christ. You're a true vessel of his light and love. We're so blessed to have you. Thank you for accepting his calling. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your kind words. It's easy to get down, particularly after that happened last night. It was a morale beater. And honestly, when I opened up everything today, I got a little PTSD as I started looking at it. I was like, oh, you get that feeling you got, that kind of shock, frustration, and you're just kind of helpless. So thank you for saying that. Those were necessary words tonight. I needed to hear that. Hello, Open Corporate's website is a global database of business records. LF, Lori Frantzve, had a LLC in the UK in the 90s. Searches on EK, EF, and TB showed some other LLCs too. Seems like a good resource to use. God bless. I know Daisy looks at that website quite a bit, so thank you. Your commitment is so important and appreciated. Keep shearing the sheep dipped until there exists no more wool for them to pull over our eyes. I like that metaphor. I'm going to use that. Secretly, guy behind Charlie motioned like he was turning on his glasses also. I'm just curious. Yeah, he did. He didn't motion like it. I think he actually did. Just before the last question, and then again, once he went under the table, he hit it again. For those of us who have messaged you about your lost loved ones, a new independent film titled Letting Go of Jack, a road trip movie dealing with grief. Thank you for that. I want to go back to this for just a second. I'm a little bothered by the glasses filming, though. When someone has a camera, it's pretty obvious when they're filming. Like they're holding it up, they're looking at the screen changes. Those glasses, you can't tell. What if you're at the gym and you go into the showers and somebody's got the glasses on? You can't tell if they're filming. What if you're just walking through the mall? What if you're walking through the grocery store? What if you're walking through your neighborhood and someone passes you and they've got the glasses on? The person who bought the glasses consented to all of that data being harvested and stored by the maker of the glasses. I did not. So if you capture my naked body walking through the gym, say the showers or whatever, you get out, you're toweling off. I didn't consent to being recorded and having that uploaded and reviewed by someone else or stored somewhere else. Let's say I'm just walking through my neighborhood and I don't want people to know the routes I take through my neighborhood, but that is now stored. That bothers me a little bit. The glasses thing bothers me. What are your thoughts about the new video that Candace posted from behind Charlie? Thanks for all you do. I thought it proved definitively he was not shot from behind. I thought it proved definitively he was not shot with a 30-06. I thought it proved definitively there is no neck expansion, as we were told. I think it proved definitively that something wild happened with that necklace. Something very wild happened with that necklace. Honestly, I didn't watch it closely tonight. The last time I watched that video closely, I watched it, I want to say in maybe January. I was with Candace. She let me look at her phone, let me look at it, and I watched it. That's probably the last time I've seen it. So I need to probably watch closely that section of her show tonight. Because while she was doing it, I was kind of getting ready for my show, and I was not paying super close attention at that point. Never stop talking, please. We need more people like you. I'll talk even with a box over my face. Notice I never stopped. Karen, read opening statement would be perfect from your perspective. Who's Karen Reed? Karen Reed. Accused of killing her boyfriend, a police officer, after prosecutors say she hit him with her car. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look at it. Innocent but narrative from state falsely accused her to avoid attention on what really happened in the collusion of murder of John O'Keefe. I have not heard that. That's crazy. Duly noted. Duly noted. I can't pronounce all those B's. Aaron Coolman. My mom and I love watching you and Candace. Keep up the good work. Christ is King. Ben's brows. Am I right? Oh, this must be caterpillars. Yes, thank you. Christ is King indeed. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it's time to do a deep dive on TB background in his family. What makes you think we haven't done that? He seems to be the person who's connected to CK to all these corrupt people. Go Max. What makes you think that we would not have done that by now? I might not have done the show yet, but I've done the deep dive. And we could do more diving. The greater purpose of the deep state is a one world government. They need to destroy the U.S. in order to make that happen. I did not believe that before COVID. I would argue, thank you, by the way. I would argue that it's demonic. I think one world government in and of itself is a demonic concept. And so the people who are helping to facilitate that are themselves carrying out those demonic desires. Too far over the target. Even now, our government does seem to be acting against us. How do we correct this? Until only ethical patriots dominate Congress. Very difficult. Article 5 convention is worth it. Again, I caution you on the Article 5 convention, the Convention of States. I find that very concerning at times when people push for that, because we can't control, once they open it up, what happens in that room. And our Constitution now, for all its faults, is pretty good. You have them open that bad boy up and you might lose your First Amendment. You might lose your Second Amendment. You might end up with a completely restructured legislative body, executive branch. You know, I think the problem started with Marbury versus Madison, but I'm a boring lawyer. I think it was Scalia. My constitutional law professor was friends with Scalia, so I think it was him. She went to eat dinner at his house, and she said at one end of his dining room is Marbury and the other end is Madison. Pictures, like portraits. I think it was him. And she asked him about it, and he said apparently that's at the Supreme Court. They have the same thing in their deliberation room, maybe, or their voting room. They have Marbury on one side, Madison on the other, because nearly all of the Supreme Court's power derives from Marbury versus Madison. And I think that case is such a tremendous travesty. It'll never be reversed, but it is horrible, terrible law. And I think it was 1803 or something. It started us down a horrific path of judicial tyranny. How did Joko get onto? I can't read your emojis, guys. CK didn't know EF yet. I don't know what I think you're talking about Hako. I don't know what he got into, but I wish I could see that. It looks like a yellow dot to me. Spot on with the opening statement. Yes, I believe our government basically works to their favor, never ours. Voting is now completely out of the question. It's moot. Voting's not moot, but I am growing tired of the lesser of two evils approach to voting. I'm growing very tired of it. The gatekeepers are not giving us any options. They're primarily just putting up people that they have complete, total, spiritual, mortal stranglehold over. And we end up with the lesser of two demons. And I don't know that I want to vote for demons anymore. And that's where I feel like we are right now. And so I too am frustrated. Sorry about that. Burt's Bees break. You wore my favorite hoodie. 31 flavors daiquiri ice. This time, please treat Daisy to one. Keep up the amazing work. God is good. She'll have to treat herself. She lives way far away from me. Epstein was hanging the old guard Rothschilds. I will make sure she can be compensated for it. Epstein was hanging the old guard Rothschilds out to dry while moving on the House of Saud. New order. People need to pay attention to Kushner. Research it. I don't know that I agree with that take. I volunteered for Tim Ballard beginning 2016. See something, say something. Baron, do you think Jeff Einstein is really deceased, or is he still alive living in Philadelphia? I don't know if he's in Philadelphia, but I don't think he's dead. I used to, but I don't think he is. I don't think that was his body they wheeled out of there. Ear doesn't match, nose doesn't match, face doesn't match. Missing a tattoo. I mean, how do you miss a tattoo? I just don't think that's him. I don't know who it is, though. I don't know where he would be living. After the video CO shared today, I cannot imagine how anyone could defend the 30-6 narrative anymore. It did not happen. Praying that we get to the truth. Justice for CK. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Guys, the way the necklace whipped around, something happened under that shirt. Necklaces don't move that way when you get shot in the neck. They just don't. They don't. That was like a 30-inch, very heavy chain with heavy pendants on it. And it whipped around like it had exploded. Lori is stated as a single person on a quitclaim deed as a trustee of the LAF Trust in 2009. She was married to Larry at the time. Also stated as unmarried on another deed. Doc, Lori Ann Trust. I believe you. I have no reason to doubt someone like you. I'm researching Jesus movement. I've looked into that. It's pretty fascinating. It formed Calvary Chapel. Well, they didn't form Calvary Chapel. It took over Calvary Chapel. Calvary Chapel already existed. The Jesus movement came along, and I mean, Calvary Chapel at the time was like maybe 50 or 60 people, and then all of a sudden you had hundreds of people in the Jesus movement, and they sort of took it over. Associated with TPUSA, appears that Intelligence and Mortal Kombat Ultra was involved in the movement. Your thoughts on this? I will say at that time in California, you should read Tom O'Neill's book Chaos if you're running down that line. At that time in California, it was California was basically a CIA open air experiment. I mean, it just was. And so it would not surprise me. I had not come across that. Philly ruined Tim Ballard. It's BS hour. Oh, you are the thing. Well, they have that effect on people. Einstein worked for the Rothschilds. The operation will always try to sustain itself. Between Ian, Candace, and you connecting the dots, what appears to be a giant black hole dot is now developing. Ian's done a lot of good work on that. So is Candace. To watch without ads, either one, subscribe to YouTube. That's what I recommend. It's $15 a month. I get it. It's not cheap, but it works it. Or use, I don't know what that means. I see no space as your browser, but I don't know what I don't know what the emojis are. Those birds, like pigeons or something. Thanks for the gifts. Those people will enjoy it tomorrow. Shout out to the puppy, Precious. Oh, you could hear her in the background. Yeah, turn the noise gate back up. I turned it down a little bit because Joel, I think it was saying that when I start in, he was losing the beginning of what I was saying. So I turned the noise gate way down, and apparently now it allows dogs to come out over. What do historical figures and pics have in common? They were all hated by the mainstream media. They were all hated by the establishment politician. That's what they have. That's what they have in common to me. I'm sure they have other things in common, but that's the narrative to me. These are populists. These are people who answered to the people, not the powerful. Would not be surprised to see Erika announce a Charlie's Angels project, accompanied by Blue Angels flyover, along with the Fat Albert C-130 for age transport. The requisite fireworks and glitter, of course. It's an interesting prediction. Thank you. I don't know about that. Jeb Jacoby 321 performance replay, please. I'm going to do a show on Jeb Jacoby pretty soon. I've got a good show lined up for you. I just wanted to finish this. I don't think I'll continue down this particular line next week. So I think that show should come up next week. But yeah, we've got a good one lined up for him. Bubba Barron, please let Tim Tebow be covered in the protection of Jesus and not part of the darkness. Christ is King. We need a hero. Christ is King indeed. We do need a hero. I like Tim Tebow, believe it or not. I see why people don't, but I kind of like him. I've always thought he was a decent actor, a good actor. Like when I say good actor, I don't mean like an actor or an actress. I mean like a good person. I wish he'd stayed in the NFL longer. I think he was good for the league. I don't speak doggo, but I'm pretty sure Tilly was just barking and wanted to see her friends in the chat. She's now likely sitting at the door so sad because she wants to talk to us. Let Tilly in. She's already been on TV, and the only thing she could tell, she kept saying, "Granddad, I'm famous." I'm like, Tilly, you're not famous. Granddad, I'm famous. So I can't. It goes to her head. She's got a big enough head as it is. Can barely get the collar on. Brian Harpole on Sean Ryan podcast said he was involved in rescuing people from illegal transportation. My first thought was he could have been involved with Tim Ballard. You know who else was? I think Rick Cutler. Funny how all this comes together. Hey, Baron, the cough button is strictly for coughing, not for hushing Sweet Tilly. Okay, you heard that. You saw that. It's a big, beautiful red cough button. And I can push it anytime I want. That's funny. I think that Elon's Doge found corruption and major fraud between TPUSA and different government entities and their funds put through with EK approval. Thoughts? I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but I've never considered that and don't find that very likely. I followed Tim Ballard since the film Operation Tucson. So sick of being duped. I thought he was a good guy. Then it all came out. What the heck? That's what I'm saying. Like, they go into industries, these people that want to do bad things, they go into industries that provide them tremendous cover. That's my whole point. Which is why saying, oh, Erika's such a nice girl, she's a widow and she's running a charity. Hey, well, that's fine. Maybe she's the greatest person ever, but that people running charities need to be scrutinized more than anybody. People leading ministries need to be scrutinized more than anybody because we keep getting duped by certain people. Baron, does Candace videos show what happened while they were rendering aid? I'm worried for Charlie's kids given all the traffic around them. It does not. It cut off before that, I believe. Rick Cutler sued Tim Ballard and not work with him. Sent you this info January 8th. So happy you were finally covering TB. I have personal experience. If you have personal experience, email me and put that in the subject line and I'll see that. I didn't say he worked with Tim Ballard. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he worked maybe in Guatemala with human transportation, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I know he was down there for several years doing something. Could Epstein's arrest, conviction, and passing have been a marketing strategy? I don't know about marketing. Maybe over the target because you might be exposing some money the victim should have gotten instead of those nonprofits from his estate. I don't think it's money from his estate going into those nonprofits. I think it's money that was already being used on an annual basis to facilitate this stuff is now being redirected. That's my gut instinct. Again, could be wrong. Hi, Baron, do you think EK and JD run together? It will destroy the Republicans? Hi, Tilly. She's famous. I wouldn't vote for that ticket. Unless something drastically changes on my mind on Erika Kirk, I would never vote for a ticket with Erika Kirk. And I would encourage everyone I know not to. And again, unless something drastically changes, in my opinion, of Erika Kirk. And it would have to be drastic. Tim Ballard documentary is actual life. Adopted 2 Haitians. Wife ran aftercare, etc. I worked with OUR on AZ-Mexico border and fundraising. So this is my question. What's going on with the border? Because there's all this border stuff with all these charities. I mean, it's his actual life story, but he's been alleged to have been involved in some scandalous stuff as well. So I don't know to what extent his actual life story is accurate. Big grants were given to nonprofits during COVID, but for COVID-related stuff, not for voting. So COVID was around the same time, perfect to move people. Child, we were on lockdown. Okay. UFO psionics are the biggest story of the past 2 years. Whistleblowers in the military have stated that America hires young international children with severe trauma to interact with NHI. Oh, non-human intelligence. I don't know all that. I don't follow the aliens. Maybe I should. So the transportation biz ain't what it used to be. No, it's all changed now. Billy smeared Tim Ballard because he wouldn't comply. It's happened before. I wouldn't rule it out. Shouldn't CPS investigate? Kids may not be safe. Go Max. I think, yes, anyone involved in this organization or these types of organizations should be heavily vetted. Baron, you're going to need a white board and a ton of markers to keep this straight. So it reminds me of the meme of the guy, furiously looking at the pegboard and he's got all the red yarn. And he keeps looking back at the camp. That's what that reminds me. Greetings from Indianapolis. I've been there. I moved here from Cincinnati. I've been there too in June. Coincidentally, Cincy has the National Underground Railroad, which has large permanent exhibit on moving traffic. I didn't know that about Cincinnati. B, State Department art staff are usually CIA. I don't doubt it, knowing what I now know, which is frankly terrifying. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Solution for ads interrupting the show. Get a YouTube premium sub, no ads, and it comes with YouTube music, $31.99 a month, but it can be shared with family members. God bless Baron and family. Yeah, I mean, I have the premium service. I don't know if I have music or not. If I do, I don't use it. I use Spotify for music. But I mean, again, and I'm not saying suffer through the ads or buy premium, but I'm saying like they have to pay the creators something or else nobody shows up. Like if there are no ads, nobody's here. You have no shows. So it's, 96% of people that watch YouTube videos, because I get these statistics, 96% of people that watch YouTube videos don't have premium. It means only 4% do. Which means 96% of people just put up with the ads I did it for a long time. I just put up with the ads. And then finally one day I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Because I consume so much YouTube content. I was like, I'll just buy the premium. It's often said Biden was Obama's third term. Seems like Trump is W. Bush's third term. That's funny. Tim Ballard was set up by the LDS Church media person. The women have all recanted their claims. I've not heard that part, that the women recanted their claims. Nor have I heard that he was set up by the media. Look, I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying there were a lot of allegations against him, and he was kicked out of his organization, and he was around this industry quite a bit. And you put it all together, and you start necessarily having to ask the questions. Needs to be vetted. Oh, thank you, Abby. Those considering Catholicism. I was Southern Baptist and entered the church Easter 2024. It radically transformed my walk with Christ. I pray for discernment for those feeling led to do the same. Counselor, I was today years old when I saw someone hold up the number 3 with their fingers that way. Yeah, I do it about half the time. Sometimes actually about a third of the time. Probably more like half. I don't know why I do it. That's 3, and that's 3. I do it all. I do it, whatever's convenient. Usually if I start with my thumb, I end up with 3 that way. But if I go straight to 3, a lot of times I'll do that. This is probably the least I do. This strikes me as like isn't this Scout's honor or something? Thank you for that generosity, by the way. Thank you. And for the message. Thank you. I'm in a daze, but nice to have fun voice in the background. I had to put my dog down yesterday afternoon. And yes, since I've cried and mourned more for Tristan than Erika has for CK. I'm sorry, Adriana. You've been a very integral part of this program. And I feel like I get to know you guys. Like you guys have personalities. I start to remember your names and the kind of comments you give. And so when I pull your name up, I kind of know what's coming. I wasn't expecting that. And I'm sorry. Very sorry you're sad. And I think your last point is pretty astute. Thank you, Laughs a Lot. Like I said last night, Glenn Beck is a common thread in all this. He does a lot of art to auction off too. Christ, does he sell art? Glenn Beck sells art? He sure does. Wow. I had no idea. I had no idea who's an artiste. Artiste, Glenn Beck, the artiste. I don't know why I think artists all talk like that. Like, I think Michelangelo talked like that. He wore a beret and talked like this. I don't know why. Like, you think of Da Vinci, one of the smartest people of all time. To me, he's a guy in a beret with a palette in his hand. Mercury 1. Glenn Beck paid for over $300,000 in collectibles in second year of the NP. Top officer made almost $300,000. Also sus. Who will ever get us justice when we, the people, are not in control? Oh, so you're suggesting that was money laundering to pay someone off? That happens in nonprofits. But I can't vet that. I don't know that. Okay, Donna, you want to be pursued by this man again? Hope you got your running shoes because it's game on. Good girl. Te amo, mi amor. Oh, we're back. Is this Harvey? Harvey and Donna. I love that. I hate that you guys are going through this, but I love that the drama's playing out and right in front of us. I feel like I'm watching a soap opera. This is amazing, Harvey. Harvey, I'm sorry you're going through that. For those that don't know Harvey, he's been commenting a few times, and apparently Donna is the one on the other side. She commented last night or the night before. Where can I get a bad cop hat? Christ is King. You'll have to ask Daisy about that. She's in charge of the bad cop hats. We'll figure it out. Babaron, the fastest cut youth intimate crime. Please know that Nobel winners legal tip lets your high IQ show end 1 in 7 forced U.S. teen girls cited in CDC's 23 survey. Email to your RBP Gmail and got delayed till this afternoon. I don't know what all that means. Please know that Nobel winners legal tip lets your high IQ show end 1 in 7. I think what you're saying is that the rate is very high for teen girls. I think that's probably very accurate based on not my personal experience, but people I know. According to recent reports, 5 drones were stolen from a base in California. Guarantee they are planning a false flag event with these drones, and the first step was the warning. Gosh, I hope not. I really hope not. That would be really a bad turn of events. Maybe the SUV door was open because they saw the alleged mic pieces and tried to scoop them out. A lot of people have speculated on that. Why not toss them out the window? Fair question. B, I've been a cop 10 years. People do odd things under stress. Yeah, they do. They do. Sound like a good cop, though, not a bad cop. So I can't get you the hat. In Colorado, and Candace Owens show picks today. Strange, the plastic pieces are in the back row while the blood lies in the middle row. Wouldn't that normally be found together? Not if. I always kind of viewed that as like just get it off, just kind of you pull a shirt off and everything kind of goes everywhere. That's the way I looked at it. Egyptians built an entire theology, resurrection mythology, and priesthood around the sun's movements thousands of years before Christ. Have you considered that your Sunday mornings are the same solar worship with the serial numbers filed off? I've gone a step further than that, ma'am or sir. Moses, MSS. Egyptians added the word Ra or Amen to their pharaohs. So a lot of them will have the RA in it, or a lot of them have AMEN. So like Tutankhamen, Amen at the end of it. Ra, Ramses. So Moses, if he would have ever been elevated Pharaoh, would have been Ramses, 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 Ramoses. Keep in mind, they didn't have vowels. And so knowing he was raised the way he was, Moses, I think he would have had access to all of that knowledge of the Egyptians. If you look at the Egyptian battle tent or the war tent that the Pharaoh would sit in during a battle, during a war, and you compare it to the tabernacle that Moses had them construct in the wilderness, and you put them side by side, they're identical. They're nearly identical. So I think some of the Hebrew Israelite religion was imported from what he knew of the Egyptians. But I think it's one step further than that. Go back even further, because you've made an assumption about the sun's movements. What did the Egyptians call the best sun? It wasn't our solar sun. It was a different sun. There was, according to the Egyptians, a sun fixed at the North Pole that was there all day and all night. And so you have to even go one step further than that to understand. But yeah, Sunday is Sunday, Monday. If you do it in Spanish, it's easier. Lunes, lunar. So you have Sunday, moon day. Tuesday in Spanish, Martes, Mars. So they're named after these heavenly bodies. Lunes, martes, miércoles, Mercury. Jueves, Jupiter. Viernes, Venus. And then sábado, Saturn. So it's named after the heavenly bodies that they could see at the time. So yeah, you're opening a big rabbit hole. You sound like you should be a member, because this is the kind of stuff we talk about on the member show. Member shows are wild. They're not Charlie Kirk. After 10 attempts of editing a harmless super chat, I gave up. Don't know what the tube did not want me typing. Hey, YouTube, you know the company David Wallace started after Dunder Mifflin. Suck it. That's funny. I've always found if you type yourself a text and then paste it into the super chat, it helps cut down on some of the editing difficulties. Zim was so lucky. Major eye roll. Yeah, you're talking about moving out of New York two weeks before the big day. I really appreciate the way you present information. Thank you. Thank you. I was an intelligence analyst. Oh, in the Navy for 11 years. I like your analytical process, much like mine. Keep it up. God bless. I was not an intelligence analyst, but I like that you think it's similar, or at least appeals to you. Ian brought Zim International up in his 9/11 stream. I know you're going the second time you mentioned the shipping name. I need to watch that. I didn't watch it. I like Ian's stuff. I just have been so busy putting shows together. I haven't had a chance to watch it. But thank you. That makes me want to watch it even more. Is Zim affiliated with the dancing Israeli moving companies? No. Are they the same? No. Both were located in the World Trade Center prior to 9/11. I don't know that the moving company was located in the World Trade Center. I know they were watching it. Too coincidental. We've been infiltrated by evil. It's everywhere. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. That's the thing about evil. It loses. I'll be your huckleberry. Because I'm your huckleberry. Zim in Houston shows as temporarily closed on a Google search. That could be because it's night. B, confused. Why are you being flagged, punished by the tube? When you say the same things that other podcasters adore all of the A-Team, go Max. My guess is there were a lot of reports rolling in because someone didn't like the content that I was covering. And so the algorithm got a hold of it. If I had to guess, that's what it was. But I don't know. Hi from Canada. My instinct, Road Mike is central. Yeah, I agree. Something made the shirt move, and it wasn't anything in his neck. I love how your research comes together. Well done. Well, thank you. Amazing about the Zim moving a week before 9/11, military smuggling and arts and embassies, connection for small people transporting. Wow. Crazy, isn't it? Tim Ballard's also spending a lot of time in Philly. I didn't know that. Glenn B, support of Israel is faith-based. Yes, Glenn B funded and supported OUR until Ballard accusations. Glenn knew and loved Charlie for years. Charlie told Glenn Beck he wanted to be him. Charlie's death broke Glenn. Glenn will never trash Erika. Duly noted. Thank you. First super chat. Glenn Beck interviewed AI George Washington. I saw that. I wish I hadn't seen that, but I saw it. George was in a t-shirt. I mean, to have some respect. Put some respect on the man's name. You don't have the founding father of the United States of America sitting around in casuals. Put him in a suit if you want him to be modern, or put him in whatever that garb was they used to wear. Throw one of those things on him. You know what I'm talking, the wig. You know what I'm talking about. Put the horse teeth in, whatever he had in his mouth. Put some respect on the man's name. You don't have him hanging out in civvies. It's not right. He's a colonel, a general. Does it benefit you more to get donations through Super Chat or Venmo? I know YouTube takes a cut, but it does help getting visibility. If not, I'll just do Venmo exclusively. Kutgua. Some people, thank you for that, by the way. Some people just refuse to donate through YouTube because they just don't want to support them in any way. That's fine. It does help the visibility of the show because the more money the show makes, the more money YouTube makes, the more willing they are to push it out. Nevertheless, if you just insist, there is a Venmo button if you'd like to take advantage of that. But there are advantages and disadvantages to both. YouTube takes a hefty cut of everything. But if nobody donated on YouTube and they weren't able to sell any ads because no one was watching, the show would just dwindle to death. Like my mom always says, birds of a feather. That's correct. In fact, as you guys send in the super chats, I can watch the reach go up. It's crazy because they're like, oh, we're making money on this show. Send more people in. Maybe not tonight because of it's severely throttled. I'm watching the stats over here on the side. I imagine it'll be that way for a while. What probably happens is, and this is just me guessing, giving them the benefit of the doubt, but what probably happens is over time you build up credit in their algorithm and they just push your show more and more and more. Anytime they have some sort of an issue, they just yank it back down to baseline. And in doing so, you got to build it back up. That's just you're giving them the best benefit. It's with incredible sadness the word charity is taken on a dark and unholy meaning to me. I have that feeling. Spotted 5 other people in Chicago airport live streaming the show. Really? Wow. Hi, airporters. There's 2 airports in Chicago. Are you in O'Hare or Midway? I've been to both. Baron, the arc of truth you've elucidated for 6 months is truly illuminating. From the historical through current events, noting correlations, pattern, motives, a 1,000-piece IQ puzzle. Good luck, Joes. Thanks. That's why we can't have people like Joe. It's a high IQ outfit. If you can't keep up, you're going to get lost. So thank you for those words of praise. The show's for anyone, but it's not for everyone. That's the best way I know to explain it. The show is for anyone, but it's not for everyone. I don't want to do a show that's for everyone. I want to do a show that's for anyone. I thought you said in September that Tim Ballard plane was in Orem on 9/10. I don't remember saying that. I mean, I might have, but I don't remember it. I can go back and look. Think. The international art business is how you launder more 5 zeros sums of money through banks and DAFs. It's the original Bitcoin. I agree. Art is a money laundering operation. Not all art. There's legitimate art out there. But a lot of it. A healthy percentage. Your Honor, I've been elevated, guys. I've got one of these and I'm not afraid to use it. I did not buy that piece of art. Oh, it's not for me. Different honor. I did not touch that piece of art. And it all depends on what your definition of art is. Oh. You're talking Bill Clinton. That's a throwback. It's a throwback. That quote is almost 25 years old. More than 20, almost 30 years old now. Wow. Aren't we all good? That's where all this gray hair comes from, being able to recognize that. Why would the ability to bypass security be noted on their site? That's so bizarre. That's like saying, come do illegal activities with us. Yeah. You figured it out. IFA. Thank you for all your hard work, Baron. If someone has a heart for this kind of work, how can we find the right orgs to support? I've never really put much thought into that. I don't know. Because so many of them seem to have shady ties. Shady is what I said. Shady ties. As soon as I said that, I heard it in my ears and I thought, that didn't sound right. Has anyone spoken to Kirk's parents? Not on the record. Not that I'm aware of on the record. If you could ask CK mom or dad 3 questions, what would they be? First, thank you, Nomi. I wouldn't bother them. They're in genuine grief. I can tell by looking at them. I would be very curious if he told them similar things that he was telling Dan Flood, Andrew Colvett, and others, that he felt like his life was in danger. I'd be very curious if he told them that. I'd be very curious what their honest thoughts were of Erika. If they thought she was the real deal, or because they spent some time around her. They knew her, and they knew Charlie and loved Charlie, and I'm sure he talked to them differently than he talked to us. And he talked to his buddies. So those are 2 things I'd want to know. Did he say anything to you about his fears? Did he say anything to you about her? And the third question is, how much time is this woman really spending with those kids? Because I think they would know. Because she likes to tell everybody she takes them everywhere. I don't see them anywhere. I see her everywhere. I don't see the kids. So I don't know. Those would be my 3 questions. If Germany or Israel says it, I don't believe them. I don't believe the story of shipments confiscations, the info released by Germany. Iggy doogie. So they killed JFK and our country fills with crooks and gangsters with Philly. Also started by gangsters. Donating to politicians to control it. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you put it bluntly, but I don't know that I disagree with you in your analysis. YouTube won't let me tell you about Florence Crittenden, established 1883. Really? Wonder why. Baron, whatever happened to the Mitch Snow chapter? Is there a picture of Erika at Fort Huachuca? I'm waiting on Erika to deny she was there. I'd like to hear a swift, firm denial. Absolutely, I was not there. I was here. I want to hear it out of her mouth. Baron, great show tonight. I'm so glad to see you talk about Tim Ballard. He always gave me Laura Silsby vibes. Mouthy Buddha came out with a documentary connecting all those dots. All roads lead to the occult. I can't comment on the documentary. I hadn't seen it. Don't know who Laura Silsby is. But I'm sure that makes a lot of sense to people who do. Jacoboyans on DW with Ben S. JB at 2020 elections. Okay. regarding Candace today, Hubs and I thought it was weird. No one looked around or flinched at the time the bang. We'll call it the bang. Also, our hang up with Catholicism is confession. Can you freely sin and just be forgiven over and over? So I will say, you know how Jesus said man wasn't made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for the man. Meaning, I think in the context of that, he was walking down a path or something and got some wheat and maybe blew the chaff off and started eating it. Someone accused him of farming or harvesting or something. They accused him of violating the Sabbath. Another time he healed somebody and they accused him of violating the Sabbath because he was healing someone. And his point was, you guys are misunderstanding the point of the Sabbath. If you institute rules and it becomes more arduous than the rest you're supposed to be getting, then you fundamentally misunderstood it. It was made to give man, meaning mankind, the opportunity to rest. It wasn't made so that you had to meticulously comply with a bunch of legalities. I think confession is the same way. We're told, confess your sins to one another, Christ will forgive you. We're told that Christ told Peter, whose sins you forgive are forgiven, whose sins you retain are retained. So there's something going on there. The church has expressed that over the centuries, over the millennia, different ways. Sometimes it was a public confession that was required. They've now done it private. I don't think there's anything to the form of it, but I think there's something to a believer confessing sins out loud to another believer. The church has provided a private way to do it and said that it's valid. As to your last piece, can you freely sin and just be forgiven over and over? You can be forgiven a sin, and God is not going to be limit. We can't limit him. He can do whatever he wants. But you know, at the end of Romans 3, I want to say it's like 24-ish, 24 to 27 maybe. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so don't hold me to the exact verse. Maybe it's earlier than that. Yeah, I think it's like Romans 3, 24 to 27. They talk about Christ being offered as a propitiation, is the word a lot of the translations use. And they talk about the notion of justice. And Paul's saying God set up this system with Christ, the final sacrifice, so that would obviates the need for a new temple, obviously. But he brings us this final sacrifice because he applies to justice. He says because of sins previously passed over, meaning God had previously forgiven sins without sacrifice. Think of David and Nathan. You know, David does what he does with Bathsheba. He brings her in. Nathan approaches him and says, "What have you done?" He gives him a parable about a guy with sheep and somebody steals a sheep. And what David says, "You got to go punish this man." And David said, "You're that man, but God has forgiven you." That didn't require any repentance. It didn't require anything. So it was an example of a situation where God had forgiven somebody without any repentance, any confession, any acknowledgement even of the sin, beyond just being aware of it. And so I put all that together to say, can you just freely sin and just be forgiven over and over? It would undercut the notion of justice. And can you imagine the field day demons would have pointing to God and saying, "I told you he wasn't just. Look what he's doing. He told you sacrifice was required, and now he's going back on his word. He's not just." And so I worry that if we're given a pattern, confess your sins to one another and Christ will forgive them, and we don't follow that, and we don't repent, and we don't turn from sin as we're called to do, then it undercuts the notion of justice talked about at the end of Romans 3 there. Again, don't hold me to the exact verses. But that's my best answer to that question, off the top of my head with no notes. and I have no idea it's coming. So thank you, Ariel, for that. Yesterday, you mentioned Melrose Place, and immediately Doug Savant's character, Matt, popped in my head. You look like him, and I can't unsee it. This up. Matt in Melrose Place. You think I look like that guy? Thanks, I guess. I'll say this, Misty. They have good eye doctors. Costco is where we take our kids. They're able to see clearly. Maybe adjust your TV. Maybe it's blurry. Baron, if you haven't read Jacques Ellul's book, Presence in the Modern World, I hope you will. I probably won't. It's a reflection on Christian mission, being salt and light in a dark world. You're pretty salty, brother. Well, thank you. I can't commit. I've got a big stack of books I'm working on. I can't commit to any more right now. So I'm probably not going to check. I don't want to lie to you and say I will when I just may not. But thank you for that. And if I ever come across it at a time when I do have time, I'll remember it. Presence in the Modern World. Thank you. She never intended to be a stay-at-home mom. It's been her company since she started dating CK. All the donors bringing all the funds. Dirty money. This is insane. You're so over the target. Keep going, Max. I kind of feel that way. It's worse than you know. Putin said in 2024, the vampire ball is ending soon. He was referring to global Western elites and their horrific crimes. Well, vampire is an accurate description, sucking the blood out of the little guy. Does Zen connect to Geitling? B thing. I don't know what that means. Geitling is a German surname originating from the Middle Low German Geiling. I don't know. Case is solved, legal action, or just public opinion? Depends. Depends on when and how confident and how clear. The art does not have to go through customs. I think that was the point. They kind of run their own customs branch. What about using Patreon? I've had friends that used it and they have a lot of problems with it. When you post documents, you need to redact people's addresses. I think that was the issue with yesterday's show. I don't want to comment on that because I'll say something that could cause bigger problems. But I don't think that was it. I think that was an excuse. I don't want to comment. High IQ outfit for summer. Sleeveless hoodie. Might as well flaunt those monster delts that have been alleged by Adfleet. Just a thought. I doubt it. So basically, they're making money trafficking kids and then making money off of movies about trafficking kids. These are wild times. I mean, that's certainly one interpretation. Just doing my part. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jenny. Well, the joke's on Beth. The library looks like a double wide sitting on top of a little rock. I have nothing against double wides. Lived in one of the first 3 years of married life. Who's Beth? What library are we talking about? Prayer, please. My medical device company got cyber attacked this week, supposedly from Iranian linked group. It's a very scary thing to wake up to. I bet. I hate that for you. Prayers indeed. Do you remember Sasha Riley? I'm familiar with Sasha Riley's story, yeah. What content did they make you edit or redact on last video? We want edited, unedited Baron at all times. I didn't have access to it. It was gone. Like, it wasn't in my studio. And they edited out a lot of the documentation and even my face at times. I was a little offended by that, frankly. There are contacts that make brown eyes the color of icy blue. Noted. Are you saying my eyes aren't brown, though? Are you saying I need contacts? Tonight's show reminds me of Psalms 73, 3 through 12. Yes, these are the wicked who always have it easy. They keep increasing their wealth. In 11, they say, how does God know? Does the Most High really have knowledge? He sees. Oh. We don't want the wicked. Baron, the little you had in savings was in stocks. Would you sell before the war gets worse? Don't worry. Just want an opinion. I was MAGA before too. So disappointing. Thank you for everything. I'm not a market timer. I'll say this. I don't put money in the stock market that I might need. That's to me, stock market is long-term money, like 5, 8, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. If you think you'll need it in the next couple of years, I'm not a fan of putting it in equities. But that's me. That's not financial advice. You don't want me to be your financial advisor. Had a vision just after Charlie's death that was connected somehow to Einstein. I believe EK and Mom are connected to him and transportation business. I don't think that's a terrible guess right now, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I got an opinion. Charlie said on his podcast he was going to talk about Island Guy files anymore. I was shocked. Yeah, he was probably told not to talk about it. I don't know what all those emojis meant. I think you, Candace Tucker, Ian, and Coach all need network TV show together. We need to drown out the fake news. Congrats for all you do. Crisis King, go Max. Yeah, except Candace gets way more views on a daily basis than a network TV show. I mean, network show, like big NBC or big Fox. No one watches TV anymore. Edge, agreeing with Eric, the view seems too low to be the tent cam, and it was moving. Curious? I think it was, I will go back and watch it, but I think the movement was the camera recording the television. There were 4 drones reported stolen from Fort Campbell today. Well, that's not too far from me. I hope they're not anywhere near me. Your show being pulled last night is more evidence that all the players you mentioned and government media, YT, all in bed together, say collusion without saying collusion, 0 to do with harassing, bullying. There was no harassment and bullying. I mean, anyone who watches the show knows that. New mom here. Thank you, Daddy Baron, for keeping me sane. Daddy Baron? Well, then. Congrats on the new baby. Dang, now you have me right back on Podesta art. Should have never gotten off of it. Left knew about DJT, right knew about those on the left. Edge, we have established the enormous Einstein mess, but do we believe the industry is related to CK departure? It may contribute, but I think the greater factors, 5 Point Friends, dollar, war, EK's lies, etc. If there's a connection to Einstein, whether or not it is the actual cause, I think it could be considered a proximate cause. If it's connected. It's a big if. The word if there's doing a lot of work. Well, if I ever go completely broke and hungry, at least I'll know I can fire up YouTube and get me some of that fed stuff. That's good. Baron RBP is the only channel on YouTube where USA federal law 1998 COPPA prevents me from chatting during stream. But super chat, no problem. And also tonight was 67 minutes in before able to access the stream. Really? What do you mean by access the stream? Like you couldn't find it, or when you clicked on it, it wouldn't let you in? Email me the answer. That video Candace showed was not the video. Where's the later part where they're huddled around him behind the table after the shot? That's the video that solves everything. She doesn't have that. She only can tell you she can only show you what she has. Einstein Files emailed June 2018 between Corinna Stuliak and Einstein, forwarding a paperless post invitation from Beth Dozeretz for a birthday event on June 14 at Beth Dozeretz's home in New York. The kind of people that run the Department of Art and Embassies, ladies and gentlemen. That's my point. There's a great awakening happening, and it's what happened to CK is pushing it to the max. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Baron, will this granny from South Australia be able to get your merch, or is it just the USA? If not, I'll be heartbroken. I think we picked a shipping option that allows international shipping, but I'll have to check with Nurse Casey on that. With Trump placing Erika Kirk in the spotlight, that puts her in a tight spot, don't you think? I don't know that he put her in the spotlight, but he did her a solid with the Air Force thing. You're wearing my favorite hoodie. Might be my favorite hoodie now. Lapots. What do you do when you're the only one in your family that knows what's going on and they think I am a conspiracy theorist? Wear it with pride. All a conspiracy theorist is early to the news. So when it's proven you're right, just gently point it out. Don't burn family relationships over it. Sending love and support from Northwest Arkansas. Oh, a Walmart territory. Bentonville. With the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, it's easy to tell indoors when recording because a light comes on. That's not a way around it. I'm aware of. I was unaware. Easy Hammer. Thank you. Easy Hammer. That's very kind of you. They had multiple GATs. We'll call them GATs. Placed by different people. They had multiple people seen on roofs. The ones found seen were the best ones to reinforce whatever narrative they had to pivot to. The others were removed. It was sloppy because it was rushed. I think there were multiple patsies. I don't know, but I think we've seen 3 things move on different roofs, actually, now that you mention it. So that's not a terrible theory, actually. Yeah, 3 different things we saw move. Pick on Erika's IG shows Lori not well at all. The wheelchair with the kids pushing her. She can't hold her hand still. Recently had PIC line on the left side. Signs of serious illness. I haven't seen that picture. Is an American Crisis by Thomas Paine. He said, the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Oh, I like that quote a lot. I may use that. I lived in Waco during the David Koresh years, and I found it all weird with the standoff. I'm convinced it was a lie now. Me too. The guy went jogging every day. They could have picked him up anytime they wanted. They could have picked him up. He jogged. First super chat, follow the money, and all your questions we answered, why they start the business and where EK and LF gets their money. We've been trying to follow the money. And what do you think we're doing over here? You know how many hours we put into this case? 4 figures. B Heart, our happy fault comment. Remember, all the things happen for good for those who love the Lord. Rather than asking why is this happening, we should ask him why is what's happening best. It's St. Augustine's understanding of cosmic harmony. I like that. Why is what's happening best? I like that. Late tonight, but just in time, Tim Ballard, Tyler Boyer, Lori, and Erika Frantzve saving children from their past trauma and helping them excel in their real world. Transportation. That's your opinion. I'm just facilitating a discussion here. It's my thought that TP, every time I see TP, I think toilet paper. Like that, you TP someone's house. Needs to keep up the illusion of support with lots of individual donors. They can justify the tons of shady money coming in. Do they have to say where the donation came from? They don't. I was kind of cute as a little girl. I remember many times I could have gotten pulled into all of that. No adult supervision. Wish I could do more. Worry about my children. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you too. Yeah. Yeah. I hate that. It's sad when you talk about little kids. I've got them. Edge, yes, we feel the PTSD. It's palpable through the screen. Be brave. We were here to stay, so don't change. I have the same subdued feeling when a crazy parent attacks my classroom methods. I won't change. Don't change, Edge. I do have a little PTSD, man. Just looking at that screen, like, it wasn't like a trauma event, whatever, but it was so frustrating because it wasn't the money. It was the amount of time we had put into that one show. It was a lot. And I thought, there it goes. Just gone. It's very frustrating. You think TF would not send CO the behind footage of Charlie because it's been edited? I would assume they have access to top AI tech. He did send it to her, or at least played it for her, and she captured it on video. I can't say whether it's been edited. I don't know. Baron, you missed something huge. Masterpiece International Limited was founded by David Cohen and David Epstein in New York, August 1989. I didn't miss that. I absolutely knew that. I don't know if they're related. Granted, it's not a super common name, but I can't draw a connection. If you have one, email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I'm happy to revisit that story. You're a great pastor some night. Love 3 things. I don't want to be a pastor. I'm happy to answer questions and share my faith if asked, but I don't want to be the pastor. But thank you for that. I mean, I don't take compliments well. I'm sorry. I'll confess, I'm not good at taking compliments. So thank you for that. Thank you. I've been told just say thank you and move on. Arkansas here. Not happy Sarah brought Erika here and endorsed TPUSA chapters in all Arkansas schools. I think it's weird, honestly, that a private charity that exists, at least as they're telling it, to elect Republicans should be mandated in every high school. That's weird. That's weird. Never throttle back just because YouTube tries to throttle you. We, the grand jury, will throttle forward with you. Don't let them get you down. We'll pick you up, love you, and Jesus does too. I'm not down. I just, you fight so hard to get everything working the right way, and then it's just frustrating. They can be taken for no reason. Baron, I'm 365 days sober today. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Congratulations on 1 year. That's a big accomplishment. I hope you celebrate without booze. I hope you celebrate. Get a cookie or a piece of cake or, I don't know, whatever you like. Broccoli and cheese. I don't know, man. I hate to suggest sweets to everybody because some people don't like them, but those little coconut things from Costco, I had 3 more today. I had 3 yesterday. Y'all going to see little chubby cheek Baron come in if I finish that whole bag. P.S. Tim Ballard is a scary sociopath. That's your opinion. Utah chock full of SRA. We crime plus. I don't know what that means. Look into Carlos Slim, former Utah AG Sean Reyes, Tim's psychic, and others in the TV scandal. The doo-doo runs deep. Utah government is corrupt. I understood some of those words, and I understood Tim Ballard. I know what a sociopath is, I think. I know what the common understanding of one is anyway, but I don't know the rest of them. And Carlos Slim, isn't he a concrete guy in Mexico? Billy, claim probably the mercy of the church, definitely suspect. Oh, Ballard you talking about? Magnifying glass or 85-inch monitor. I can make it a little bigger, actually. I didn't think about it. Hold on. Made it slightly larger. I had to move my toolbar. But it did make it slightly larger, and I can now see your screen. Now see your screen. Good evening, Sir Baron. Thank you for expanding my brain. Legos, our mods are the best. This is for the mod tip bucket. Lots of heckle tweets out here. My goal is to get the mods some merch. But I got to get all that worked out first. I got to get that worked out first. I don't even know how to find them. In America, no one is above the law, but many. Oh, no one is above the law, but many. Oh, many are, yeah. Hey, Baron, just wanted to point out that you at timestamp 2:49:33 last night's show, you stated the show would be up for eternity. Had to point out 33 is a joke. Thank you for everything. Oh, sorry. I didn't know I did that. I'm being blocked from sending super chat. Well, you just got it through, Kathy. You're not that blocked. Counselor, chartreuse looks good on you. Love you, B. Thank you. I don't know what color that is. What's chartreuse? Oh, this color. A French herbal liqueur made by Carthusian monks from a secret recipe of 130 plants. Sounds complex. Someone drop in 10 membos. Hey, you guys are going to enjoy it because tomorrow we'll get a chance to take advantage of that brand new membership that fell in your lap. In Hebrew, Zem means scheme, plot, or wicked device. Is that true? Why would you name your company that? Well, sometimes the question answers itself. Sorry if I missed the explanation in the CK vid on CO when DF moved in. Okay, I'm following you so far. There's a red spot that suddenly appears on the back of Charlie's shirt. What's that? The injury that caused it. I'll look for that tonight when I watch the video more closely. I don't know. I don't want to play that video because right now I'm not taking any chances tonight. Any chance to release the body pic? There's a chance, yeah. Since it's been a dark couple days, thought you would check out this for your joyful lift on YouTube. Priest reviews Napoleon Dynamite. I bet that's funny. I bet that's funny. Oh, Venmo for donation. I gave that out earlier. It's just my name. You can't forget it. Baron-Coleman. I'm an early adopter, so I get my name on a lot of stuff. Like Baron Coleman. Venmo. Baron-Coleman. One more time. For those of you in the back. I worry about my grandkids in this world full of evil. Baron, please don't stop. That was fast. That was fast. I worry about my kids. I don't have grandkids yet, but I do. I understand your fear. Edge, I adore Tebow and pray that his NFL presence may help league tolerance, appreciation from Mendoza's open faith. Yeah, but it didn't go well for Tebow. That's the problem. Gifted 5 Baron Coleman memberships. You guys are great. You believe you'll be uncovering the new Easteen and Co.? I don't know. I mean, I hope there's not one, but we know human nature. There probably is, and somebody's got to find it. July 11th, Charlie says we want the Island Guy files. July 14th, I'm not going to talk about the files. Yeah, what took place between those 2 dates? Student Action Summit in Tampa, where he was hounded for things like Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith and Megyn Kelly. Hounded. Baron, have you heard of Allie Carter? I have not. She's mentioned being a victim in tunnels under museums. Michelle Lamy says she wants her rings back from Erika. Tunnels under museums? That's scary. That's scary. Photo showed vinyl tan and white cover balled up with blood. Vinyl tan and white cover. Oh, I know what you're talking about. They forecast a mess in back, plan a picnic, or use a gel impact on John Bray they talked about recently. I thought it was just packaging of some sort. I don't know. That's a good question. It's a great question. Thank you for that generous contribution, by the way. 26.3 looks pukey. Good luck, Baron. Oh, I'm doing it tomorrow. It's going to be awful. I don't think anyone's finished it yet. The pros didn't finish it today, and the girls were using light weights. I mean, 85 for the third round was pretty light. I don't suspect I'll touch the 135. I don't think I'll get there. I certainly won't get through it. I think the 115 at that level of fatigue will give me some trouble. Because remember, you got to do 48 burpees, 24 cleans, and 24 thrusters at 95 just to have the privilege of doing 12 cleans and 12 thrusters at 115. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a nightmare for people. A nightmare. Could there be a connection between Zim and Jesse's Dakota text? I hadn't thought of that. I saw Jesse doing a live on that, but I haven't had a chance to check in on it. So I got so much I need to do. When the video was taken down, I thought Baron's not going to be able to sleep tonight. Prayed a rosary for you. Christ is King. Thank you. The rosary might have helped me get some sleep. The prayers might have helped me get some sleep. I was up very late talking to YouTube, back and forth, trying to get that back up. And it did not get up until like 8 o'clock this morning. So I finally just went to bed, but it was late. I've not slept very much last night. CPS involved in transportation. I've heard that, and I don't doubt it. Baron, early Grumbler Super Chat, and I both noticed red pink spot on CK, low mid back, and CO vid. Thoughts discussed it with YouTube. Censorship, can't even describe my feelings. Love the show. Daisy's work. Thank you for that. I need to watch that. I'm so nervous to pull anything up right now. You know, let me look at the throttle percentage here. Oh yeah, we're still cooked. We're still cooked. It's gonna be a few shows before they loosen us back up a little bit, guys. Be sure to share. Tell people about it on Spotify and everything else, because we are Twitter and all that. We got to get the numbers back in our favor. I'll check out that spot on the low to mid back. Yes, you're the second person that's mentioned it. Please pull up Philly Leader Press Conference, 9:15. Note date. Are we being held over T? I'm not going to pull that up right now, but I don't. I mean, that was 5 days after. I don't know what point you're trying to make there. Baron, never stop asking questions. As a global collective, we're awakening to the lies and cover-ups that have been perpetuated. Wishing blessings and protection for you and your family. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. That's the German 3. What is? Oh, which one? One of those? Any chance Ballard is being falsely targeted? Grew up with that family and they were wonderful. Maybe the CIA turns them evil, but I have a hard time accepting this one so far. Movie was so censored too. I'm not saying he is. I'm just pointing out the allegations that people that are around this, sometimes these allegations follow. I can't comment on the veracity of them. There was no criminal conviction, so I can't say anything has been evaluated thoroughly in court or anything. Sir Baron, Candace again mentioned France involvement, French Foreign Legion. Remember you saying Macron and Trump phone call 1.5 hours before CK killed? Love to know more. I need to pull that back up. That's a good call. That's a good call. I need to pull that back up. I'd forgotten that data point until you just pointed it out. Moonbeam. I was approached at 15 by a modeling scout outside his train station in Boston. Mom told him to beat it, ripped up his business card, and tossed it. Yeah, that probably wasn't going to end well. So I had a girlfriend in high school. She probably wouldn't want me telling my story. If you know me, you may know who she was. I probably shouldn't tell the story. Similar story. Very similar story, only even creepier. Great opening statement. Very interesting connection. One would think that with all these organizations that claim to help those in rush hour traffic, Coach's phrase, maybe we wouldn't have this crisis. I might steal that phrase. I like it. Yeah, the question I keep getting is, where are all the people who are helped by these organizations? Like, where are all the former victims who've been helped and rescued, and where are they telling their story? I would join members, cannot do daytime shows as I work 9 to 5. Love your show. Left Cornerstone Church back to Catholic. Christ is King. Thank you, Lori K. No relation. No relation to this Lori K and the Lori. Well, she's not a K, I guess. She's an F or an A or a W or an A. She's something else, or a G. But thank you. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. Well, I mean, you can still join the member show. You could just watch them on replay. But you don't have to. No pressure. No pressure. No pressure. Baron Run. If you keep investigating the transportation department, you're going to have to hire yourself, and I've heard that you're very expensive. Terribly expensive. You can't afford me, nor can I afford myself. Terribly expensive. Terribly expensive. Yeah, my old job asked if I would do some side work, and I told them they couldn't afford it. Baron, conspiracy promoted by that guy tomorrow using hand signs for 3. Yeah, probably. I didn't know that was a weird way to make a hand sign. I apologize, guys. Baron, Madres Buscadores in Sonora, Mexico. A group of mothers and volunteers searching all over Mexico for their missing children. I was just given a 2-week leave here for work for my mental during divorce. That sounds like a terrifying place. It's endemic. Who would steal a kid? Are you crazy? Baptized Catholic returning to the church. How do we defend against claims that all religion are cults? They're not. I mean, I don't know. Mint Daddy Green. I'm not trying to whiff that away, but I mean, if someone's arguing that, they've got a different problem. You notice the red circle appear in the middle of the back. I'm going to go look. This is supposed to be a chest wound. Sorry if addressed already. I'm going to look right now. I don't think I'll pull it up because of the controversy that's been going on. Oh gosh, we're at 3 hours. I probably shouldn't be pulling it up. I need to get through this. I need to get to bed. I have not slept. Let me see if I can find it real fast. There's the video. No, red appear. I do agree it was supposed to be a chest wound, though. I agree. I think it was set up to be a chest wound. I don't see the red circle. Leaning back, talking. There's the necklace goes. He flinches. It's paused. I don't want to go fast. I don't want to miss it. I don't see a red circle lower part of his back. Whatever you guys are seeing, I'm not seeing. Oh, I do actually now. Now I do. I'll be dadgummed. I did not notice that when I watched it the first time. Well, that bears some investigation. I need to check that out. I do have to hustle through these though, because I need to get to bed. YouTube censor my comments. Send an email. Wayback shows a pizza place that was in e-files 2015. It's a pizza site. 2019 turned logistics shipping site. I mean, if we could just change businesses, somebody goes out of business, somebody rents the spot. Press load coverage shortly after 9:15, and T went full throttle. I'd like to record the record reflect that I was here, Your Honor. Noted. Wait, so I don't know if this was mentioned previously or not. Do the Egyptian planes following EK make more sense with human transportation now? So I did not follow the Egyptian plane things. So that's other podcasts were covering that. I just never devoted much time to it. So I can't comment on that. The only Egyptian plane I really commented on was the one that was at the airport that day. And I did comment about that one. Baron, love this high IQ show. Thank you for all you do. And Daisy, P.S. How old is Harvey? Asking for a friend. Oh, Harvey, you got somebody that likes you, likes your style, Harvey. Baron, I made a mistake in my last super. It was 4 drones, and they were stolen from a Kentucky base. The original news report that it was out of California was obviously to cause confusion. I apologize for the wrong info. Oh, duly noted. Thank you. Love your show. Go Max. By the way, my daughter Hazel would love a shout out. Crisis King indeed. Hazel. Now, wait. Now, what's up with the username? I heart Candace. What am I? Chopped liver? I'm leftovers here. Does she read your messages? Latest on Einstein, he discussed having a radical prostatectomy in emails. Yet his autopsy discussed the state of his prostate. He regrew a prostate, or that wasn't him. Jimmy Dore did a segment. And he had no tattoo in the picture. I'm behind, so my bad if I already said that. Company Zen, Ian mentioned his 9/11 show, must watch, direct ties to Twin Towers. He showed proof, files, great work. Yes. Someone did comment on that earlier. Have you seen Fall of Cabal? No, I've not. Explained so much. Thank you. Lucky Larry Silverstein of 9/11 fame recently purchased U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles. False flag incoming. Erika can forget about bringing TPUSA to Ireland. I promise that as long as there's a breath in my body, she will not indoctrinate our Irish children. So stop, Erika. Just stop. Zim paid large lease termination fees to leave World Trade Center early, too. I need to watch his show. He sounds like he knows more about it than I do. 4 drones stolen from Fort Campbell, November 19, in 2025. Photo released today. Please pull it up to show suspected pics so everyone can identify if possible. Jury here for justice and our security. So yeah, go Google that image. I'm trying to hustle through here. You may mention later in the show, but while we're doing connections involving Glenn Beck, he also does art. Yeah, someone mentioned that earlier. That's crazy. Thank you, Linda. Baron, you're honorary. I knew you honorary Mexican. You can't have that plate above your head, not be. Sigue al máximo. Thank you. I appreciate that. Synagogue incident today. First false flag. I got to follow up on that on the member show tomorrow. So tune in. Yeah, I see your member badge. You'll be there. Did you see the Alex Jones and Jimmy Dore interview today? Alex was wild about the Charlie investigation. I watched that yesterday, I thought. Was that today? Time flies when you're having fun. But Baron, I'll never trust our government again. And agree with the continued investigations, but where will it get us if no one is ever held accountable or arrested? Crisis King indeed. There's power and knowledge first. Second, you don't know that no one will be held accountable. I live in Michigan. Today was so scary with the shooting in West Bloomfield. Yes. Things are happening. Enough birthday talk, y'all. My 36th birthday is Monday. I'm getting so old, man. Roll that beautiful bean footage. That was 10 years ago for me. You're fine. You got plenty of life left in you. Stop giving. Don't say that, especially after Tick Down Blurred show. Don't listen to him because then the show goes away. Regarding TB planes, CO suddenly touched on it. It was definitely there. Maybe worth a revisit. P.S. Call you Baron 2 times. Love when you drive home. An important sentence twice. Go Max. Thank you, Beth. I repeat myself for a reason. Did EK use them? She said she didn't use military. Ooh. That's a good question. I don't know. Last few weeks have led me to the opinion that EK and company was not working with Einstein. They were battling for the same turf. I don't know that I agree with that, but that's an interesting thought. The footage that from Candace puts an even finer point on how unnatural the hands over ears reaction is to the Big Bang. Yes, I noticed that. He did it twice. Very unnatural, in my opinion. We should all be praying for CK's parents. Sis, can't imagine, devastated, I'm sure. Read Rome Sweet Home. 100% converting. Mass again tomorrow. Thank you, Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I love the book. I recommend it to anyone inquiring about the faith. I think it's just such a beautiful presentation of what it all means. And congratulations, by the way. The point of confession is not freedom to continue sin, it's to receive reconciliation and grace to prevent further sin, one of the greatest gifts. In fact, you have to promise to try to go to sin no more to get out of there. They'll lock the door on you. No, that's not true. But it is part of your act of contrition. I can't stop thinking about how heartbroken Charlie must be, seeing how badly he was betrayed, and for the fate of his children. Prayers for Mac and Gigi. No heartbreak in heaven, honey. Wouldn't be heaven with it. First time sending one of these in. Thank you for all you do. After CK was killed, something changed in me. I instantly knew Christ was real. That's an amazing testimony. Going through OCIA got us good. 6 months ago, I was doing tarot. It was all Jesus. Oh, my goodness, Sydney. Your first confession is going to be wild. I took a notebook. Thank you for all I had a lot of years to catch up on. Thank you for all your effort. We appreciate you. Hit like. Come on, folks. Hit like. Plus, I've gone back to the church after listening to your love of faith. Catholic Church after listening to your love of faith. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you too. Jesus loves you too. I do love my faith. I love it a lot. Reason I say Jeffy Epi was used as a marketing stunt is because it angered a lot of people who want to do something, and money is one way some can do by giving it all to charity organizations. War Eagle Baron, War Eagle. Haven't been able to join you in a while, but I hear you've been doing great work. Can't wait to catch up. Hello to you too, Daisy. Thank you, Quirky Circle. We'll be here. Get it in, the B thing. Towers before 9/11. I don't know what that means. Hoodies with zip-up fronts for our old gals. We could probably do that on the next merch run. Gifted 10. Wow, 10 memberships. 10 of you are going to be happy tomorrow. We're going to have fun. A priest at a Catholic church near me has an extensive military background. When people confess, is it possible priests can be government informants? Not if they're priests. They take a vow that they will never break that seal. Clinton Library, your story at the beginning of the show. Oh. Thank you. EK's real eyes, not blue. Contacts, fake hair too. I'll check into that. I don't think her hair's blonde. I'm Reformed Presbyterian. I read RSW. Oh, Rome Sweet Home. I have more questions, but I'm this close to converting. Will the church accept me if I'm excommunicated from, I don't know what Reformed Presbyterian Church North America? Is that right? I don't know what RP. Ask your priest. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the book, though. I like when I recommend a book and people like it. I can't wait for tomorrow's member stream. Yeah, me either. It's going to be fun. Let YouTube count the super chats. Go Max. Hit like, everyone. Yeah, the likes. People have been very compliant with the likes tonight. You guys doing a good job on the likes. Thank you. It helps. I mean, we gotta rebuild the algorithm from scratch. That's what happens when they come after you. Poppy Baron. Hi, Baron. Huge fan. Is anyone else worried that Erika has custody of her children, especially with a history of minors? I don't know that she has a history with minors, except for the one girl she talked freaky to who was 15, and that was weird. Outside of that, I can't say that I know she has a weird history, but I'm a little weirded out by it, to be honest with you. Catching up, know anything about Donald A. Hoffman? I don't know a thing. I didn't have time to look into it yesterday. Came back to Christ because of you and talking and acting the way you do. I came back and told my children and grandchildren to come back too. You saved generations by being obedient. Thank you. Guys, these are amazing stories. And it's not me, it's the community. The whole community facilitates this discussion. So thank all of them. Thank all of them. I thank them all. Heaven celebrates with all of us. Candace sent out an email this evening about celebrating Catholics, and the guy Eduardo Verstegui was listed as receiving a reward. He's the guy Aaron Girl mentioned working with in the video you showed earlier. Really? I need to check that out. I don't know if I'm on her email list. Maybe I need to get on it. Sorry to say, but I share to Facebook, but get ignored with you, Candace, and Lionel. Family and friends think differently, and that's okay. When I post picture of my garden, get tons of like. So here's the problem. You're sharing a link on Facebook. Don't share links on Facebook. They don't want people clicking links and leaving the platform and going and watching YouTube. Post your post, and then in the comments, put the link. and just say in your post, hey, link in the comments, and then comment on your own post and put the link. You'll see better distribution. That's a little Facebook hack for you people. Baron, you, sir, are making a big difference. Thank you for everything you do. Praying for you and your family from Montana. I would love to go to Montana. I've never been there. I would love to go. Maybe this summer. Maybe we'll go to Montana. I doubt it, but maybe. Maybe's a big word there. Priest would be automatically excommunicated and lose all priestly faculties. Severe consequences. Yeah, they're priests sitting in jail because they won't violate the seal of confession. Could pics of CK and fam overseas be taken by Mikey and Eliz have been AI faked in order to release a happy family image following the Big Bang? Maybe. Right now we have our faith in Jesus Christ and Baron Coleman. Literally so proud of you, Baron and company. Go Max. More faith in Jesus, please. Whichever side it's on. More faith in Jesus. Just let me inform and entertain you. Finished Rome Sweet Home. Loved it. Went for confession. Reconciled the Catholic Church. Thank you for being part of how I found my way home. So appreciate what I learned from you and your high IQ outfit. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. These stories are so uplifting. And I'm not being I don't want it to turn into a Catholic snob thing. I just want people to find faith. I want them to find their way back home. What happens on this world matters. And it has eternal consequences. But I love the Catholic Church, and obviously I'm happy to share my experiences with it. But I encourage people, find your way somewhere. Make it about something other than you. Baron, the Leah Files Substack, who's a former CIA NSA, finds what people hide in financial. She has a series on TPUSA. You should check it out. Keep pushing on. Christ is King. She's actually on my list of things to watch. Love everything about this hangout. Me too. This is family. Not TPUSA family. No, we're not doing any of that stuff. I came back to Christ because of you and talking about and acting the way you do. I came back and told my children and grandchildren, oh, you just said you came back twice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Go Max. Love a lot. Laugh a lot. We love that Baron laugh. I am trying. It's been a heavy day and I'm very burdened by a lack of sleep. Now DJT's Art of the Deal sounds more like a creepy inside joke. Ooh, that was a good book, though. I enjoyed that book. Please post yesterday's show unedited to the other place. Can't say the R word in the super chat. It's there. It's there. SRA, satanic ritual abuse. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out. They want you to be scared. Don't let them get to you. I'm not scared. I just, Y'all, did Iran actually bomb Satan Yahoo? Heard from Jimmy Dore. I don't know. Don't forget to click like. Look at all these new members chiming in. Oh, it is 2 months. Hey, Baron, about number 3 in sign language, only 1 is number 3, 2 is W, third is Fox, or okay. You're welcome. Oh, 3, W, okay. Okay, so this is 3 in sign language. Good. Thank you. Help clarify things for me. I've been behind on shows this week. What can we expect to member live for tomorrow? Thanks for all you do. I've had several people reach out for some clarifications on some of my weirder beliefs. So I think I might provide some clarification on that. I got a couple other small stories I want to get off my chest that I just don't think are stories that we cover here necessarily. So we'll have some fun. Lots of talking back and forth. First time super chatter here. Love your show. May be my favorite because you spend so much time with us and love your hoodie. Thank you. Welcome to the club. VP JD announced on X a college tour run with Erika. Why? Make it stop. That's it. Stop. Stop. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. Yeah. Why do you put up with YouTube's abuse? Rumble is free speech. We would follow you there. I don't want to get into the why of not doing something exclusively there. But the exposure is so much less there. And I honestly don't know that I would be able to produce the same quality content day in and day out. I certainly wouldn't be able to have the employees, and that would alter things. The reward for doing one over the other is just fundamentally different. And it's something I've talked to them about to try to find a way to do more there. But it's just for right now, it doesn't work. Do you think the video being taken down yesterday could have been because you mentioned the real Einstein name? No, I don't think that was it. To clarify, super chats with certain content were blocked. I sent an email. Thank you. Please. You're being nice about last night. I'm not. I'm pissed. I sent super chats to support the show, and sorry, suckers take a large percentage of it, then take down and blurred content. They made money off me watching, kind of doo-doo-y. Yeah, I made that point to them. I said, go look at how much people invested, into the program, and it's not right to take it away from them. I made that point. I want to be a Christian, but it seems like everything is Zionists. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. Well, up there it might be. Now, of course, a lot of places it is. I live in walking distance at synagogue in West Bloomfield. Can't wait for your show, member, tomorrow. Yeah, I've got an interesting piece on this. Someone asked about the member show. I am going to cover that tomorrow. I've got a very interesting side note to that. Something interesting about that event. Ballard advised Ivanka in 17. Trump appointed him to his anti-transportation board in 19. Barr Ivanka DJT announced $100 million to aid victims of transportation in 19. DJT ends board in 20. Things got weird. That's great. I need to check that out. Those are good facts. This is why I love hearing from you guys. I hope you do look into Karen Reed case. LawTube is a rabbit hole you might feel comfortable in when we get justice for CK. Also, still think CK's necklace might have been duped, armed. I have much the same suspicion. I highly recommend watching the 1996 Gary Knoll interview with Kerry Mullis. I find his comments on Dr. Fauci very interesting. Thanks for all you do. I knew Kerry Mullis when he was alive, believe it or not. I used to do a lot of work in HIV law, and Kerry Mullis was very active in that community. And had the privilege of knowing him for a little while. Not well, admittedly, not well at all, but knowing him and talking to him. And he would have been a thorn in their flesh if he'd have been alive during COVID. Woo! He'd have been mad. He would not have put up with him using PCR for COVID. Group prayer, please. Good friend, 7-year-old has brain cancer surgery soon. Oh my, 7 years old? That's horrific. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. We'll pray for you and your friend. Joining late, love your show, Baron. I will lose my mind if I continue seeing lies about Erika being an amazing president, and Charlie said so. Red flashes Dan's hand as he pushes CK. That's not what I saw. I'm going to go back and look at that. I might show that on the member show tomorrow. Can you please update me on what happened last night with the stream? I did. First one missed in months because work beat my butt and I fell asleep. Watched about 30 minutes today of it, but had to come live and didn't finish. Yeah, we've talked about it several times tonight. It just, I think it hit a little too close to home on some of the stuff we were talking about. Gotta love your show. You're great, Baron. We love you. Thank you. The good news is I'm very cautious on what we cover. And so even if it hits a little too close to home, they might complain about some small things and cover them up. But, Karen Reed was framed if I wasn't clear. You were clear. Best show on the Real Baron podcast, on the air, Real Baron podcast. Where can I finish watching the uncensored version of Redacted show? Free speech, Rumble. Rumble has it unredacted. I put the redacted version up on Spotify just so they couldn't complain. My hairdresser told me she got a speeding ticket from a drone. I've seen them flying around, hovering over our highway system in Washington State. You need to ask, is this a criminal ticket or a civil ticket? When you get a ticket from a camera. Because those are, whether you're proceeding in civil procedure or criminal procedure, is a big difference. And if they don't know, it's a problem. Because a civil procedure is in rem. It's against the property. It's against the car, meaning it can't go against your license. If you get a speeding ticket, that's a criminal deal. If it's a criminal thing, that way they put points against your license and all that. So you need to ask, is this criminal or civil? And if it's criminal, there's a burden of proof. The person who signed the affidavit has to know it's you. And you get to call them in front and you get to ask them. You get to cross-examine them. How did you prove it was me? How do you know I was in the car? And then when they say, I didn't, I just signed the thing. So you signed an affidavit under penalty of perjury that I was in the car and you don't know? I don't know what the rule is in Washington. That might not work there. Might be a civil procedure there. Might be a civil penalty there. Time for some Waffle House, counselor. I'm on the way. What's your usual order? Really curious. I can't eat at Waffle House because I can't eat eggs and they cook it all in the same thing. I used to eat at Waffle House. 2 hash browns, scattered, ham, onion, jalapeno peppers, 3 eggs on top of that mess, scoop of chili. I got charged a different price every time. Sometimes I'd pay $5, sometimes $7. I paid every penny in between. Baron, my mama, Cindy Yates, made another connection I think is worth looking into. Hako's sister, Ilanka, worked for TPUSA as an activist. She went live tonight, but she sent you a couple emails this week. I'm aware of the Ilanka connection. Yeah, I am. Watched some interviews with her and everything. But there's only so much we can put in the show or it just goes forever. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Coleman. You have given me hope and showing me what it is to be part of a great community. Well, thank you. Very kind of you. And your donation is humbling, unbelievably kind. So thank you. This is a great community, genuinely a great community. And she deserves a lot of credit because she puts up with a lot, me working late 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. AK fell down rabbit hole. See post about shooting. AK fell down rabbit hole. I don't know what you're talking about. For those that want to be a Christian, don't let other people keep you from God. Seek him out. Agreed. I'm not Catholic, but need confession. Will a priest take it even though I was raised Episcopal? We recognize the Pope as the leader of our faith. They will, but tell them you're not Catholic when you do it because the end will be slightly different. But most priests will still hear it. But there's a little different send-off right at the very end if you're not Catholic. But I had a law partner who was Episcopal, and he would go to confession with a Catholic priest. He just told him every time, look, I'm not Catholic, but I need confession. And they would do it. Watched from across Jamaica Bay as the towers fell. I was 26. I was not shook that way again until I was 50 and watched the coverage of CK. Thank you for the work that you and Candace and others have been doing. I'd lost faith. You have helped with that. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith, Mary Ellen. Guys, I got to run. I'm hoping to get some sleep tonight. Hopefully this video stays up. Hopefully I don't wake up tomorrow with a box over my face for several minutes at a time. We'll see. We'll see. In the meantime, you got to click the like button, especially as we're trying to rebuild the algorithm from the damage done last night. Because right now it's just, I'm telling you, I look at these, I'm a numbers guy. I look at these percentages and I see all that. And I just know that right now it's not making its way up people's feeds as it used to. You know, if a click-through rate used to be 8% or 10% or 12%, and then one day it's 75, that means people are only searching it out. They're not seeing it in their feed. And so that's problematic in terms of bringing people in and just casual viewers, having them join us as well. So hit the like button. That will help. When the video goes live here in a little bit, you can comment on that. That'll help as well. But just thank you. I don't require all that. Just thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. We have a good community here. We have a great community. We celebrate victories. We pray for each other in hard times. And it's hard to find a community like that, particularly online. So thank you for helping me. You guys help my faith. And I think you're helping each other's faith as well. And we're trying to get to the bottom of things. We're trying to figure things out. We're trying to look at the world a little differently, maybe be more educated with the way we approach the world. This is a good one to end on. May the divine Trinity protect you and your faith and give the whole world peace soon. Thank you. That was very kind. Guys, don't forget, please remember, Jesus loves you. Thank you. Have a good night. Get a good night's sleep. I will be back for the members tomorrow. I'll be back for everyone else Sunday night. I look forward to seeing you there.